I honestly can't even believe we're here. Feels like we just got going yesterday, and it is the end of the WCBL season, at least from Medicine Hat. This is our final regular season home game here at Athletic Park, which throughout the summer, it has turned a bit yellow. It started with green grass, and we faded on, and it's gotten hotter and hotter, and the stakes have gotten higher and higher as this season has gone on. Both teams that we will see tonight alive and well in the playoff hunt, the Medicine Hat Mavericks. They currently sit in the 4th seed in the Eastern Division. The Swift Current 57s just 2.5 games back, trying to capture that spot and make the playoffs for the first time since 2023. This game is the first of a 3-game set that will be played between these two over the next few days, and it's a pivotal game one. If the Mavs can get out on the right foot, they create a bit of a cushion between them and the rest of the pack in the East. Swift is looking to claw their way back into a playoff spot, and it feels like they really need to win all of their games from here on out. We've got it all for you on Flow Sports tonight. My name is Truman Bartman. For maybe the last time this season, I will sit alongside you as we get ready to get going here from Athletic Park. But first, a quick word from our sponsors, and then we'll be back with our Fortis starting lineups. And here's tonight's starting lineups. First, we'll begin with the Medicine Hat Mavericks starting lineup. It is the same group that you're used to seeing. In fact, it is the exact same lineup that they rolled out last time they were at home. Leading off will be Carter Roth, the 2-time All-Star, playing over at second base. Evan Morrison will be stationed over in right field. Nick Hill over at third base. Frankie Giacalone back in over at first. Johnny Volcano will sit at short, and he is now, for the first time at home, the all-time games played leader in Mavericks history. Eric Calder will DH tonight. He's been red hot over the last 2 weeks. Nate King, the all-star, will be behind the dish. Josh Stark inserted back into the lineup. He plays in left field. And Jalen King, the new kid on the block, who has gotten off to a great start to his WCBL career, he'll be over in center. And now let's see what the Swift Current 57s have cooked up for tonight's game. And it is a veteran-heavy lineup and a star-studded lineup. Leading it off is Hudson Unger, the returning player for the 57s this year. Hunter Fuimoto will be across from him and playing over in center field. Jake Hiramoto, the now all-time leader in home runs in a season in the WCBL, will play third and bat in the 3 spot. Mace Wheeler, the defensive stalwart, will be behind the plate and catching. Rydell Adair, another long-time 57, will be parked at first. Zach Clow will play over at shortstop. Jake Steffes will DH. Cohen Jorgensen is next to Zach Clow, over at short, playing second base. And Lucas Geisler, the first-time All-Star, is in left field. That is the bunch for the 57s, and now let's take a look at who the Medicine Hat Mavericks have on the mound. It's the guy who starts every home game, Julian Picorni. He started on Sunday here against the Weyburn Beavers, and he improved his numbers drastically, picked up his second win of the season, now has a 2-2 record, a 7.39 ERA, and 24 strikeouts on the year. He carried a no-hitter into the 6th inning in his last home appearance. We'll see what he has ready for us here tonight. Now we'll send you down to field level for the playing of our national anthem. Talked a little bit about Julian Pokorny's last performance here, and boy, was it dominant. It looked like the 2025 version of Julian Pokorny, who was an all-star with the Brooks Bombers, spent 2 years in their organization, and he lit it up last time here. His strike-to-walk ratio wasn't that great coming into Sunday's game, but he turned it up a notch, and I had the chance to speak with him before today's game, and he said, I had fun in my last game. I just want to go out there and have another fun one today. For a guy that's nearing the end of his baseball career, at least with the Mavericks here for short, you know, this is a time where you can soak it all in and just enjoy the little things about baseball that make it so great. But he's obviously got a little added pressure tonight with having at least aspirations to make the playoffs and wanting to be able to guide this crew through and, you know, at least get close to where he was in his last performance. So big things to come here from Pokorny, who will see a stacked up 57s lineup. And that's not something that you've been able to say over the last couple of years. So if Kern has been near the bottom of the standings, really in both 2024 and 25, 2023 they squeaked into the playoffs and then were bounced early by the Moose Jaw Miller Express. And they want to get back to that spot, and they are inching closer and closer. And Hudson Unger will be the first guy to step to the plate for the 57s tonight. Here's the first pitch from Pokorny, and it'll be outside for ball number 1. Pokorny's command of the strike zone in his last appearance was really effective, and some of the best we've seen from him this year. Second pitch is going to sail wide to Unger as well. A bit of a breeze out there tonight. Hazy skies with some fires off in the distance. Not near here in Medicine Hat, but it's blowing through into the gas city. 2-0 count here to Unger. And that is 3 consecutive pitches that sail wide for Julian Pokorny. 57s have done well in the early innings here when they've come to Athletic Park. A couple of big numbers put up in those performances, but they've struggled to claim wins here at AP, and it's a leadoff walk to Hudson Unger. Pokorny yet to find the strike zone here. So now we'll turn our attention over to Hunter Fuimoto, a later add this season for the 57s. And the second consecutive left-handed batter that Pokorny will see. Pokorny has given up his fair share of walks this year. But as I mentioned, that last performance really created a difference between his strikeouts and walks this year and made his stat line look a lot prettier. There's a strike for Pokorny. Had some interesting umpires behind the plate this year. Not to critique at all, but their approaches to calling strikes are always different. Looks like a fairly fast approach from the umpire tonight down there. Pokorny swing and a miss as Fuimoto was behind on the pitch. When Pokorny is in the zone, he is deadly, and he's going to look to do that here against the 57s after a tough outing against Unger in his last. Here's a ground ball to Carter Roth. He's going to turn and try for 2. Throw down to first, not in time. So they get the lead runner and Unger, Fuimoto on via the fielder's choice. And now it will bring up one of the league's hottest hitters, Jake Hiramoto, the most home runs in WCBL history in a season. And he looks to continue to rewrite history because every time he hits a home run, that number only increases. And it was a record that stood for a long time, finally taken over by Hiramoto. He's very much in the MVP conversation this year as well. Hiramoto swings and misses off the first offering from Pokorny. Hiramoto so far this year, mentioned the 20-plus home runs. He's the only guy to reach that total. Leads the league in home runs this season by a wide margin. Pokorny steps back onto the rubber. Pop up here, and it'll shade over wide. So a good-looking count here for Julian Pokorny against one of the league's best. So funny, Jake Hiramoto not in the home run competition this year at the All-Star game. Keegan Noller taking the honors. It is crazy to think he breaks the record and he doesn't get to go in the competition where we really all want to see him. Here's another one fouled off into towards right field by Hiramoto. Hunter Fuimoto still sitting over at first base. Pokorny, downhill view, and ooh, that is awfully tight. I'm sure there's some fans that disagreed with the call there. Letting that hang just high was Hiramoto. Pokorny, another high pitch that Hiramoto won't chase. See the approach for Picorni. He's working the top of the zone, and I'm not sure if that's off film study or he's just looking for Hiramoto to maybe pop up. Picorni working in a 2-2 count against Hiramoto, and he fouls another one wide. Competitive at bat for Jake Hiramoto, and that's what you want to see for from your superstar if you're the 57s. Medicine Hat has done a lot better when they have quick first innings. Picorni looking to make it one of those. Here's a ground ball. Volcano flips to Roth, and he drops it. Oh, pivotal mistake there as the throw just sailed wide by Johnny Volcano, and Carter Roth not on time with his Doan teammate. The two very close friends and usually on the same page. Now it puts 2 on for the 57s, and this is, eerily reminiscent of some of the plays we saw on the road for the Mavericks, giving away opportunities similar to what they have here. And now the 57s are in business. 2 on, just 1 guy out. And Julian Picorni's done his job. He's gotten soft contact and already 1 out. It's been the defense that just has not come through yet. First pitch here in the next count to Mace Wheeler is going to fall for a ball. Talked about Hunter Fuimoto being a late add. Mace Wheeler the same. He has done well behind the plate as the lead catcher on the 57s. Wheeler will foul that off. A good head shake after, so he's on time it seems. Wheeler, back foot as far back as it can be in the batter's box. Picorni just puts that one wide. The back door was working well for Picorni in his last game, using that outside edge, but it depends on what umpire you're going to get game in and game out, where you can get away with some of those calls on the outside, and so far Picorni not able to get close enough here today. 2-1 pitch on the way to Wheeler. Wheeler, a ground ball, just foul over towards Frankie Giacalone at first. So Giacalone lets that go wide, and now a 2-2 count here to Wheeler. Waiting on deck is Rydell Adair, a regular for the 57s, but it's his first appearance of the season here at Athletic Park. Picorni taking there was Wheeler all the way as he ducks down, and now it's a full count here to the 57s catcher. Picorni, quick look over to second. Wheeler, ground ball to Volcano. He's going to peel to second. They get one down the line, not in time, and another double play that could not be executed by the Mavericks. Volcano got it out quickly on the first out at second, but a tough play for Roth moving away to get that at first. And so now there's runners on the corners here for the 57s with 2 outs. And another weak hit ground ball. Julian Picorni looking effective on the mound right now. And now here comes to the plate Rydell Adair. Not really sure what to expect from Adair. Obviously a veteran, the longest standing member of the 57s. I believe he played all the way back in 2022 on their team as an affiliate player. He's one of 2 Adairs that we'll get to see in today's game. But with limited action against the Mavericks, I'm sure they'll be scrambling to figure out answers against Adair. Pitch is just going to be over and outside for Picorni, and it's 2-0. Picorni gets set, pitch on the way, and it sails by. Good grab by Nate King. Now it's 3-0. That window out there really affecting the Mavs right now on defense. And once again, it's that strong gust from left to right that we've been accustomed to seeing here at Athletic Park. Picorni. And a walk is issued out, so the bases are loaded now for the 57s. Second walk of the game for Picorni. And now that will bring up to the plate Zach Clow. Clow, he's pitched here at Athletic Park already. He's hit. He's really a do-it-all player for the 57s. And you think without Keegan Noller in tonight's lineup, he's a pitcher and a hitter as well. Really the only guy who can do double duty is Clow at the plate. And we'll see if he gets a chance to throw in this game. My guess is he'll probably stay stationed as a position player. Clow, a swing and a miss. Off speed on the first pitch here from Picorni, and that one dips straight down for strike 1. Both teams needing a win here tonight, and it would do big things for the playoff picture. The 57s really need to sweep the weekend. Here's a ground ball that's going to roll and just end up foul. Nick Hill with a close watch to it. And if that ball stays fair, there's almost no chance to get the out over at first base. I mean, you got a guy in Clow who runs pretty well, and the out at the plate probably not there as well. So fortunate there is Nick Hill, and the Mavericks will take a bounce their way after, quite a few that haven't gone their way in this inning. Clow will return to the plate here. 0-2 count to his name. Big spot here already for Julian Picorni. Picorni kicks, deals, and strike three called. Working out of a bases loaded jam is Julian Picorni, a 0 in the first. The Mavs starting off on the right foot in a must-win game for both teams in their pursuit for the playoffs. Bottom of the first inning after the Mavs and Julian Picorni survive an attack early from the 57s. And it wasn't that they were putting up these booming hits or doing anything crazy with the bat, but they found ways to be patient, capitalized on the Mavericks' mistakes defensively, and they loaded them up. Now, Picorni, a big spot to kind of calm down the nerves and show that he is just out there having fun tonight. There's nothing more than it, and I thought he commanded himself really well on the mound. Here's the first pitch of the day from Kyrell Adair on the mound. His first outing of the season here at Athletic Park. Both Adairs in the game tonight, and that's got to be a sweet feeling for their parents getting to watch both brothers in the same game and a big game. Second pitch to Carter Roth, and he drives it through, and just as he has done in his last couple of games, he starts it off with a base hit, and he's digging for two. Roth sliding in. He's there in time, and now one off of the WCBL's all-time doubles record. The mark is 23. That is Roth's 22nd, and he's into scoring position for Evan Morrison. When you can have a leadoff hitter who's as good as Carter Roth, oh, it is a treat, and the Mavs have seen this game in and game out recently. Roth is playing his best baseball at the right time. Here comes Evan Morrison up to the plate. His first match of the night with Kyrell Adair on the mound. High pitch here from Adair is ball one. Morrison has had some streaky games recently, but his Sunday against Weyburn was a complete performance for the outfielder. Adair Morrison swing and a miss, chasing after the high pitch. Looked like it was labeled for the top of the zone. Obviously Adair effective in locating. Adair, quick look off to Roth. Checking his swing there was Morrison, and that'll be ball 2. Adair, a very quick worker on the mound. You think Picorni has good energy and good movement and obviously quick gestures? I mean, Adair is wasting no time staring back towards the batter. Adair going to step off here and get readjusted. So right as I say he's working quick, he takes a little extra time. Adair, pitch on the way. Morrison pulls it foul, and now we'll face a 2-2 count. The numbers for Adair so far this year, one of the lower ERAs on the Swift Current 57s at 6.65, 2-6 record, 24 strikeouts. So the 57s haven't won a lot when he's been on the mound, but you have to have confidence in the other numbers that lay alongside that. Here's Morrison with a ground ball over towards second, and a short toss to first that almost got away from the second baseman in Jorgensen. And that'll be out number 1, but Carter Roth over to third base. And now a fly ball will score him easily with how fast he is. Here comes Nick Hill. Nick Hill, a fast start to his WCBL career. Several homers in his first few games, but has tailed off a little bit. The batting average lower than he would like it, but he is a scary hitter, and his bat speed is lethal. First pitch from Adair, and missing it, flicking it to the net is Hill. There was a good point made down in the Mavericks dugout earlier today. When a guy throws with less velo, sometimes you go into attack mode and you over-attack. You try and do too much with an off-speed pitch. You have to be patient and look for the one that you like. Hill will wait there as he nods off the off-speed. Adair quickly gets the sign from Wheeler. Just fouling that off again as Hill looked like he was a little behind on that swing. Adair spending his second season in the WCBL, so not as long standing in the league as his brother, but he's played some baseball within this league, and I don't believe he's ever pitched here at Athletic Park, but he's well aware of what road teams and road stadiums are like. Here's a ground ball, a great diving play by Cohen Jorgensen for out number 2. In most cases, that's probably through for a base hit, but with the defense set up how it was, Roth will stay planted over at third base, and the Mavs will have to wait at least one more batter to try and get a run through. Think about making a statement early in the game. The 57s had a chance to do that, couldn't complete it. And now a chance to make a statement for both Adair, Roth, and Giacalone all in this equation here. Frankie Giacalone, similar to Nick Hill, it has been a bit of a tail-off in production. However, he did tie the Mavs' all-time lead for home runs in a season with 11. 1-0 count here to Giacalone. Very effective at the plate when he's patient. Adair jumps back into his stance. Giacalone waits, and he takes the off-speed pitch for a strike. Just feel like runners in scoring position, it's going to be something you won't come by often tonight, and you have to capitalize when you do have a look like this. Obviously, the same was said in the top half of this inning about the 57s and the situation they were in. Adair on the way, holding off is Giacalone. Waiting on deck for the Mavs is Johnny Volcano, who is in a red-hot stretch of his own. Giacalone, always one arm swing before he sets up. Giacalone swing and a miss. Is just fans on the pitch. It was inside, and that's a spot that he likes. We'll see if Adair attacks back in that area now, knowing that that's what Giacalone's looking for. Adair. Calm shoulder shrug. Giacalone, a swing and a miss. Foul tip into the glove, and the Mavs leave one stranded at third base. Roth got to second in his first plate appearance, but the Mavs can't convert, and it remains 0-0 after one. 4 runners left in scoring position between these two teams. Looks like it's going to be that kind of night out there. Obviously, runs hard to come by. Jake Steffes, the first batter in this inning that Picorni will see, and it's a ground ball to Johnny Volcano. Volcano throw over to first, and that's out number one, routine for the longtime Mavs shortstop. And we talked about the all-time record being set games played-wise, and I talked to Johnny about it today, and the thing that he always mentions when speaking about the Mavs organization is his appreciation for being here and, you know, getting to wear the Mavericks uniform for so long and getting to learn about the community and kind of finding a place where he's fit and, you know, can be accepted, and the Mavs fans have embraced him well, and he's done that right back to this community. Also had a chance to talk to his dad, Jimmy, before the game and spoke about his appreciation for the organization. His mom, Lisa, not here tonight, but, you know, Lisa, if you're listening, we say hi, and obviously congratulations to Johnny and his accomplishment. Here's one over the head of Volcano and into left field. Runner thought about turning for two, and instead Cohen Jorgensen will stay at first base. So one on here as the 57s look to return to their first inning form. Beer batter for the night is Lucas Geisler, batting in the 9 spot for the 57s. Geisler played prior with the Regina Red Sox, spent some time away from the WCBL. He's back here with the 57s, a first-time All-Star this season. Picorni. Long standstill and a shooter over into right field, and this could score a run all the way into the back corner. Morrison's going to take it off the bounce, and they're going to hold up the runner over at third base. Throw to Nate King at the plate is stopped, and it's a double for Lucas Geisler with just the one out, and now 2 into scoring position here for the 57s. A 4-pitch walk the first time Hudson Unger was up, and instead, this time he'll get to come up with runners in scoring position and a chance for the 57s to take the first lead of tonight. So if Current, not a team that scores a lot of runs. On average, they score more than Weyburn does, who is here on Sunday. Still, it's going to be a tall task to put a bunch past Julian Picorni, who has been really good, at least in this start so far and in his last. Picorni's first pitch here will be low to Hudson Unger. So Unger has seen 5 balls already from Julian Picorni. Picorni, second pitch, he goes with the off-speed look, and that checks in for a strike. The ERA was at 9 for Picorni before Sunday's game, dropped all the way into the 7s, and that's some promising stuff. Swing and a miss on the high off-speed pitch there from Unger. The stuff from Picorni, when it's on and the velocity is up, it can make you look foolish, and Unger experiencing some of that there. Picorni goes towards the outside. Unger was taking the whole way. You could see the hand gesture after. So 2-all here's. Picorni goes for his second round against Unger. Picorni collects into the side, always the long leg kick, and a swing and a miss. The first K of the night for Julian Picorni, and it's a big one now, 2 outs, as he looks to rally out of yet another jam here in the top of the second. So Hunter Fuimoto, another guy that reached last time he was up, was via the fielder's choice. Fuimoto, a solid addition, not known for what he can do with the bat as much as what he can do with the glove. Here's a ground ball. Roth gonna chase it down, makes the play, over to first, in time. Unbelievable from Carter Roth. That's what you get when you face a two-time All-Star and one of the top defenders in the WCBL. There's nobody who plays second base smoother than Carter Roth. And what a moment to get an out in the top of the second. That will take us to the midway point. Still 0-0 here at Athletic Park. Johnny Volcano, first batter to start off the bottom of the second for the Metasnap Mavericks after a thrilling end to the top half. Carter Roth, if you haven't watched him play a lot, I don't want to say it's routine, but he makes some special plays, and that one added to the highlight reel. I mean, no better way to end an inning than on a play like that. Obviously, I'm sure for Roth, he hoped it would be simpler. But already, starting off this game hot on both sides of the ball is Roth. And, you know, you want to follow the leader if you're the Mavs. And leader in the clubhouse, obviously Johnny Volcano at the plate. Play-wise, that can sometimes lean Roth's way. High pitch here to Volcano for ball number one. It's a favorable count here for Adair at 0-2. Trying to challenge Volcano to swing on the last pitch. Volcano leaning out over, and that pitch wide for ball two. The best season to date in the WCBL for Johnny Volcano. His numbers have been sky high compared to other years. And 2026, he has really evolved into a full-on WCBL machine, I was going to say, as he strikes out there. And so Volcano will be sat down. First strikeout of the night for him, first out of this inning. But you talk what he can do on both sides of the ball, and it has been impressive. And he's figured it out and become very much routine-oriented and always trying to work on little things. And despite the strikeout here, I think it's a positive direction that Volcano is headed in the entire year. And when you're going, you're going. And outside of the last at-bat, he has been one of the Mavs' best hitters as of late. Here's Eric Calder. He probably has the title of best hitter. 2 home runs in his last home game at Athletic Park. He is feeling it right now, the hottest stretch of his young WCBL career. Calder from Tabor College is going to head back to there after this summer season. Calder takes the first 2 pitches from Adair for balls. Adair back into the stance. Calder fouls that one aside. Calder will stretch out at the plate, and had a chance to talk to him after his last home game. He mentioned he always thought he was going to be a hockey player, and outside of being a hockey player, obviously very good at baseball, and kind of became a world traveler for a bit. He's played baseball in Canada, Australia, and the United States, so 3 countries strong for Calder. Calder rips that down the line, off of the glove. It's called a fair ball, and too tricky of a play to be made. A great effort over at first base by Rydell Adair. He couldn't convert it to his brother, and so 1 on for the Mavs here with 1 out. Nate King. Guy who wants to win as bad as any, and he spoke about it throughout this season. At the beginning of the year, didn't know what was going wrong for the club, and he's had his moments throughout this year. Think back to the game in Moose Jaw as he takes for ball one here. A key hit down the line. Obviously, the Mavs end up taking the lead going into the ninth in that game, or in the ninth rather. We're unable to come back, but King always playing his part in big moments, and now Calder will run off for second base. So the ball gets by usually reliable Mace Wheeler. So a runner into scoring position for Nate King. Adair is going to take an extra second after bouncing one in the dirt. Adair. King clubs this one into the gap. Calder was waiting. He's going to head over to third base, and having to hop out of the way there was Eric Calder. Runners on the corners for the Mavs with one out. And here comes a guy who's been out of the lineup for a little bit. It's Josh Stark, an average that has still been very good throughout the year. Of course, he was near the top of the league in batting average after really the first month of the season. His numbers have stayed relatively high. The power numbers have dipped in the home run department, but obviously not a concern for a guy who's just looking to barrel up the ball any chance he gets. Quick chat here between Mace Wheeler on the mound with Adair. I'm not sure if they have a signature plan here for Josh Stark, but they'll try and execute whatever they've come up with here. And the Mavs threatening with a couple of runners on. Adair. First pitch in the dirt. A good block there from Wheeler. Calder not the fastest runner over at third base, but a pass ball will likely score him. Stark waits on the second, drills it up towards short, and a slip there at the last second, but the double play is converted. Runners left on again for the Mavericks. Eric Calder stranded at third. Nate King left over at first. Stark grounds into a double play, and we remain at 0 after 2. A game built on defense so far, and strong pitching on the mound as well.
For more than 40 years, we've been there, helping Canadians find the extra space they need to grow and to create new memories. Sentinel Storage. Buy Canadian, store Canadian.
For over a century, we've been more than just lawyers. We're your neighbors, your friends, and your strongest advocates. With locations across the prairies, we're everywhere you are. Stringham, your local lawyers.
Yo, Dustin, you going?
Yes.
Can I join you guys? All right, let's go.
Whether it's on the ice or on our app, always play for the fun of the game. Gamble responsibly with Play Alberta.
First pitch from Picorni to begin the top of the third inning in a game that has seen a lot of runners left on the base path for both teams. He'll come up against Jake Hiramoto, and a good time to see Hiramoto with nobody on as he rips this one foul and down towards a patio that contains some of my coworkers at a different job that I work. I know this is a bit off script, but Connaught Golf Course, if you're ever in the area, go check it out. Go take in, the golf experience here in Medicine Hat, Play 18. Great staff over there, I hear, and they're all in attendance at the game tonight. Here's Hiramoto, high one over towards right field. And one of the best power hitters in the league is just going to be short right on the warning track. Evan Morrison makes the grab. There are not a lot of ways that you can keep Hiramoto in the park, and Picorni thankful that he got away with one there. So now with Hiramoto down, it'll bring to the plate Mace Wheeler. We haven't seen a 1-2-3 inning yet. I know it's very early on, but you would think at some point one of these pitchers would dial through. Picorni checking the swing there was Wheeler. They're going to look down towards third base, and the call is confirmed. Julian Picorni, outside of a couple of walks, really liked his performance so far on the mound. Seems to be very in control, and he plants a strike there against Wheeler. Picorni back to it. Wheeler, high one over towards left field. Coming onto it and having it land in the glove is Josh Stark for out number 2. Both hits by the 57s in the last 2 at-bats. Looked like they had some pop, but just not carrying as far with the wind out there today. And the haziness in the air, all of those things can be factors. And it's also a very hot day, so that obviously adds in, some gloominess. And, people aren't moving as fast outside in this weather, I can tell you that much. And the baseball doing the exact same. So 2 quick outs here for Julian Picorni against the 57s. And that called a strike as it left the glove of Nate King. King and Picorni seem to have a great duo dynamics between the two as far as pitcher and catcher go, at least on the field. And their last 2 games together as a battery have been impressive. Another strike from Picorni, and he knew he found the zone there. Hitter at the plate is Rydell Adair. Adair batting .333 coming into this game. Just 28 games played this season for Adair, however. Picorni. Count now runs over to 1-2. Strike away from getting out of the inning. Adair, more walks than strikeouts. It's obviously an impressive feat and a guy that sees the ball really well at the plate. And he didn't see that one well enough. A strikeout looking for Picorni. And mentioned, no 1-2-3 innings. Well, how about we experience one? Julian Picorni filing through the 57's order. We'll be back here on Flow Sports with more Mavericks and 57's action. Jalen King, what a start to his WCBL career as he fans one over to right field, and it is just foul. That ball had a chance to stay fair off of the bat. What a season it has been for Jalen King. A very short season. He just joined the Mavs, feels like not even a week ago, and he is the do-it-all center fielder for this bunch. Obviously losing Thomas Schnabel and Carson Chan, 2 huge hits to the Mavs outfield. But King, a guy who runs really well, an athlete, and he's always praised amongst his teammates for being such a hard competitor. He hasn't been here the whole year, but he treats it like, he grew up in the city and he's playing for this community, and that's something you can really respect about King's game. Adair Taking a pitch this time was King. A very good eye at the plate as well. He started 3 for 3 in the first game against Saskatchewan earlier in the week. That was really the best start he's had to any game hitting-wise. Here's one that's roped over to left field, and it's in for a base hit. And Jalen King, the king of singles so far in his career, and another added to the tally here. The Mavs with another lead runner on. Now can they make something positive out of it? You'll see Carter Roth, and talk about the flip-flop from a bottom of an order to a top one. We've spoke so highly this season on this broadcast about how Moose Jaw kind of has that speed pocket from 9-1. The Mavs have really a contact pocket between King and Roth. Either of these guys could be leadoff hitters on most teams, and such a luxury to have the flip over that the Mavs do. So here's Roth now. First pitch from Adair, labeled for a strike. Roth will step out of the batter's box. Not one to usually swing early in counts. He likes to work them deep. Roth going to swing hard this time. It's out over to right field, and if it's fair, it's in a good spot, just foul. That pole kind of blocking my view where that ball had landed, but really close for Roth, and that would have been extra bases for sure. Instead, he'll step back into the batter's box, and as far as Kyrell Adair goes, maybe feels like he got away with one. I think both pitchers have felt that way during today's game. 0-2 count here to Roth. Now he's going to send one. This could be 2 for the 57s. It's dropped on the way to second. And let's see what the call is. They're going to call King out. Wanted to see over at short if Clow was on the base, and it looks like the call is that he was. So a fielder's choice. Roth over at first base. The Mavs in the same spot that they were in prior. Now just with one out and a different guy at first. So here's Evan Morrison. One out here in the bottom of the third. Carter Roth always a threat to steal, and they'll check back at first base. Throw a bit off from Adair gave Roth time to get back. Adair. Morrison fouls this one wide again. It's been 2 foul balls. You can see Morrison trying to pull through, and he's getting the top of the ball, at least on the last 2 swings that he's put in that direction. Roth. Lead getting longer and longer at first as it's a ball tossed wide by Adair. Interesting setup here for the 57s defensively. Third base playing way in. Another check on Roth at first, and he's back in time. Adair climbing back onto the rubber. Morrison waits patiently in the batter's box. High pitch to Morrison. He'll take for ball 2. This is a guy that you're going to see walk a lot. Morrison was near the top of the league in walks for a majority of the season, and he's still up in the higher half. Morrison lines this one to short. Throw back to first. Roth's there in time, and it gets by. Let's see what the call is. I think it got into the dugout, which will mean that Roth is allowed to move to second base. And the Mavs will have a runner in scoring position off the misfire over at short by Clow. So Nick Hill, a similar situation to where he was last time. Up with Roth in a good spot to score. Just feel like it's a matter of time before Nick Hill breaks out once again. He's been quiet for too long. There's some hitters, you watch them and you know that they're really close. And I get that feeling with Hill when I watch him. Adair collects into the glove. First pitch here to Hill. He's going to take for ball number 1. Or rather, that's a strike call there by the home plate umpire. Ball had lots of downward spin on it towards Hill. Roth trying to create a distraction over at second. A swing and a miss for Hill. Saw the off-speed pitch again, and it just avoids his bat. Adair has done a good job navigating so far with runners on base for the Mavs, and for that matter, both pitchers have, but another situation here where the Mavs have a look, an 0-2 count in favor of Adair on the mound. Hill checks his swing. No appeal down to first base, so it'll be a ball. Mavericks come into this game on a losing streak, and After a great start to their last road trip where they won 2 games against Saskatoon, they've dropped their last 3 against the Berries and the Miller Express. Hill, ground ball over towards the middle of the field, and it's through. Roth's being waved around, and with speed as good as his, the first run of the game is in to score an RBI single for Nick Hill. He was due, and the Mavs take an early lead here in the bottom of the 3rd. That's what you're looking for if you're Medicine Hat. Chipping away early on. It doesn't need to be a big inning where you put up 10 runs or even 5 runs, but 1 run can go a long ways. And the Mavericks have experienced that throughout the year. A lot of close games where, they lose by that 1 run. Good start here early in the first 3 innings. Lots of chances. They finally get one to go. What brings to the plate the power-hitting righty Frankie Giacalone. Giacalone, ground ball, similar spot towards Hill, and it bounces off the glove of Clow. Being sent to third is Nick Hill. He is there in time, and runners now on the corners for the Mavericks as they get a little bit of ball luck. And Clow, you can see a frustrated look over at short. It's a tough play to make, running to your side, trying to get over there and get the glove to ball, and any hop can be a dangerous one, and he obviously took one off the top of the glove. And Johnny Volcano giving a wave up to the crowd here. In his first plate appearance, nothing was said, but a chance to salute the all-time games played leader for the Medicine Hat Mavericks. It looked like an unbreakable record. I mean, Brian Arthur had that record since, I believe, 2012. And Volcano comes in, plays game 181 on the road, his first game back here in Medicine Hat. And, just a great tribute here for the Mavericks to obviously recognize such a prestigious honor. So a quick chat on the mound between head coach Jared Franklin and Kyrell Adair. For Jared Franklin, it was announced recently that he was extended for 2 more years in Swift Current to be their head coach. It'll be the first time in a while where there's been some consistency at that position for the 57s. And what, a rebounding of a season for the 57s in Franklin. He has come in and really turned their group around. First pitch to Volcano is ball 1. So obviously, congratulations being sent out to Jared Franklin, and props to his hard work throughout the season. Volcano flies this one off towards the Mavs dugout, and it just drops shy of a speedy Jake Hiramoto. Hiramoto turning the burners on, and you think what he can do with the bat is special. His defense is very underrated, and he nearly got to that pop-up. 2 outs here for the Mavs. Kyrell Adair unable to leave this inning with a 0 on the board. The Mavs looking to try and score again, as that'll be fouled off by Volcano. Nick Hill sits over at third base. Frankie Giacalone at first. Volcano has been known throughout his time with the Mavericks for many of his clutch hits. Volcano spikes that one into the netting. Back to some of the biggest ones. Obviously, there was a walk-off against Regina in the postseason propelled by Johnny Volcano, and that one's standing out. That was back during the 2023 season when the Mavs made a run to the finals. Volcano, another one fouled off. He's seeing the ball so well right now, and knowing that that's not his pitch, elects to foul it aside. Adair, he'll do it one more time against Volcano, and Volcano loses the bat. Gonna dust off his hands there. Originally, Johnny Volcano playing without batting gloves, and he's gone to the gloves this year. If you thought that helped with grip, I guess not. I don't think I've ever seen Johnny Volcano lose the bat before when he wasn't wearing gloves in years past. But the approach has very much changed for Volcano. In past experiences and past times playing in the WCBL, you'd see him attacking pitches and almost wildly at times. And in 2 strike counts, sometimes he would try and rip one and go for a bigger shot. Right now, he's just focusing on contact, and it's serving him so well. Adair redoes it at 1-2. A pop-up here for Volcano. Wheeler is going to stride backwards, and he makes the play, falling to his knee. And so that'll be out number 3, the Mavs. They get a run on the board. Carter Roth comes around to score. Nick Hill with the RBI single. 5 hits on the board already for Medicine Hat. Their offense has looked good. It just is yet to explode, but a start here in the third.
July, the Okotoks Dogs and Baseball Canada will host the Road to Okotoks and the Morneau Cup National Championship at the Siemens Stadium Complex from July 14th to 19th. Come watch the top 16 youth baseball teams from across the country. These are the future stars of Canadian baseball, tomorrow's collegiate standouts and professional players, all chasing a national championship. Don't miss a week of elite competition, unforgettable moments, and the future of Canadian baseball.
Have you ever wondered if there's one thing that connects people from across our province? Something that connects the coffee shop to the spray park, or the brewery to the rodeo, the campground to the sports field. It's pretty amazing when you think about how it's all connected, because it truly is. And it's all we think about, so you don't have to.
Top of the fourth, the first lead that we've seen either team have a lead as there's a ground ball to Nick Hill. It's in play, long throw to first. Frankie Giacalone in time for out number one. A pretty good hit on that play by Zach Clow. That's where you want to locate it, low along the ground near the third base line, and just a better play made by Hill with the arm. Here's Jake Steffes. Steffes getting to face his friend and teammate Cody Myers last time the 57s played the Mavericks. Tonight it is Julian Picorni who he will see for a second time. First pitch from Picorni in this matchup, and it's labeled for a strike. The numbers just continue to improve and improve for Picorni. Even in this game, it seems like he's getting better with time. Here's a ground ball out of the reach. Volcano, a tough play, floats it to first, and he made it look easy. Slow-mo from Johnny Volcano for out number two as he gets Steffes in a rundown. So Steffes now 0 for 2 on the night, and Picorni keeping the pitch count low. He'll head into this matchup here against Cohen Jorgensen, and he hasn't even thrown 50 pitches yet. Jorgensen. Second plate appearance of the night. So Picorni knows what he's dealing with. Same could be said for Jorgensen. First pitch strike from Picorni. Man, Andrew Bench must just be loving it down there as the Mavs pitching coach today. First pitch strikes have started to become a regular thing now for Picorni in this game. Check swing, and it is called a strike by the home plate umpire. Picorni will take some time to get readjusted. A good-looking count here at 0-2. Picorni. Here's a high one launched over to left field. Ranging onto it is Stark, and it's going to drop. And now for second base, sliding in there, maybe not even needing to, was Cohen Jorgensen. A tricky play to be made there on the far left-hand side by Josh Stark, looking to run it down, back shoulder type of play. And initially it looked like he almost made the grab. Ball blending in with that, obviously, sign out there that is white as well. It's now a runner in scoring position here for the 57s, and a chance to do damage for Lucas Geisler. Picorni, 0-2 count. I don't want to say he got ahead of himself, but really wanted the strikeout look there, and unfortunately got a hit the other way. Picorni, first pitch outside for a ball to Geisler. Cohen Jorgensen now 2 for 2 on the night. I don't think that they ruled that an error, just judging by the scoreboard. Picorni. Geisler, hard hit ball. Roth collects with the backhand over to Giacalone, and that is an easy does it play for Carter Roth. He's made much harder in this game, and he calms the storm that was being brought on by the 57s. Another runner left on for Swift Current. And we return here in the bottom of the fourth inning on Flow Sports with a familiar, I guess, voice. I get to see the face and hear. James Tubb, welcome back to the broadcast booth. It could be the final time we get to sit here next to each other. Obviously, wishful thinking. We'd love more ball, and we would love to watch more of Eric Calder, who comes into the plate red hot again. First pitch to Calder, up high for ball one.
Yeah, Calder's found the right time of year to be at his best, and it was a lot of loud outs earlier in the summer, and now it's just loud hits.
A late called strike there for Calder. The score clock has yet to turn on in the inning, but I believe it's a 1-1 count. Adair moving with good pace. Calder holds up, and he takes for a ball. A borderline pitch there from Adair.
It's kind of the one thing that hasn't changed all season, Truman, whether he was having offensive success or not. He was really in control of that strike zone, especially that outside pitch. He's able to lay off.
Calder, another low pitch. I believe he reached in his last time up. And, for Eric Calder, you talked about the straightforward approach. He hasn't complicated things, and that's almost good for the mind in some ways. It brings you to a calming spot. And there's a walk for Eric Calder. He knows what he wants right now at the plate, and none of those pitches were it.
No, and he's done a good job in this game of just being a base runner. And, he wasn't able to score his first time getting on base, but he's on, and now he's given the Mavs, a chance here to try to do damage.
Nate King, a base hit in his last plate appearance, and talked about how badly King wants to get back to the postseason. And for some of these Mavs veterans, it's just so much more important. They understand the community aspect of it as well, and that's clear from King's vantage point. Calder, likely not a threat to steal over at first base. King waited for the off-speed pitch, drills it into left field. That's down for a base hit, and the Mavs' first two hitters aboard here in the bottom of the fourth.
It's another guy right now, I think, that's swinging a really good bat for the Mavs, Truman, and they need it. They need that kind of production from, someone in the seventh hole that Nate King is, and especially from the catcher's position. And if they're going to make the playoffs, if they're going to get there and get to the dance, it's going to need top, 1 through 9, and it's a good showing so far tonight of what they're going to, what it's going to take.
Here's a guy who's regularly in the 9 spot, and Josh Stark. He's moved up one tonight with the emergence of Jalen King in that position. Stark grounded into a double play in his first at-bat. Adair looking to bunt there was Stark. Pitch taken for a strike. The Mavs start off every batting practice with a couple of rounds of bunting, and I'm sure most teams do that. I think it's pretty routine, but standing out for the Mavs, they never take a day off from practicing their bunts. Adair facing pressure again, and a punt wide here from Stark, so he's going to be forced to swing.
I like the attempt there. Try to move the runners around and get two in scoring position for, Jalen King, who's had a lot of success. And if it's not him, then it's Carter Rowe at the top of the order. So a good attempt there from Stark, and now he's got to try to fight off 2 strikes.
Yeah, this is the sweet spot in the order right now for the Mavs. 0-2 here from Adair. Floats that one high. Looks like a Eufus pitch in many ways from Adair, and I'm not sure if that's there to fool or bait, but seems like he's working that pitch up high for the most part.
It's a very light 12-6, and it stays more 12 than it drops to 6.
Adair goes low and gets a swing from Stark, and a strikeout now. 2 will remain one in scoring position, 2 on. Calder at second, King over at first, and King to the plate. We talked about how confusing that can be, the first King and King situation here for the Mavs. Adair. Quick collection. King stings this one in to right field, and they're going to hold Calder over at third base. A good call from David Dell. And now a bouncer that will be gloved down by first baseman Rydell Adair. See if there's a conversation, and it looks like Devin Sawyer is going to come out of the dugout here. Nobody was warming up for the 57, so maybe another chance to just calm the nerves for Adair, who's been shaken up in his last couple of matchups.
And especially with a guy like Carter Roth coming to the plate, how are you going to attack this hitter? He's had already has a double this game, led off that the contest, Truman. And I don't know if you said this on air, so pardon me. Carter Roth now one back of the WCBL record for doubles in a season. So, it's been a lot of history this season for the Mavs, and they hope that there's a lot more future ahead.
Carter Roth, not really a guy that keeps tally of stats. We talked about the doubles record single season for the at least in Mavs history, and he said he didn't even know about it really till after the game, and it's just typical Carter Roth in the best way possible. I would say the most humble superstar I've ever worked with. He still does not realize how good of a baseball player he is. It's almost concerning that he doesn't realize it.
I think he has just enough self-belief to have success, but doesn't, nowhere close to the cocky confidence that, you sometimes see. It's just kind of confidence, and even then it's just, he knows who he is.
Bases loaded for Roth. First pitch, caught over, and no! The double play not converted in time. It was a slow move over at second base by Cohen Jorgensen. And that could be costly depending on what Evan Morrison's able to do here. It seemed like that could have been a bang-bang play.
It felt like it. I think they were almost surprised that Nate King wasn't back yet, and they hung up before they tried to make the play. And, Mavs kind of luck out now to still be alive in this inning.
You need a few bounces to win baseball games, especially ones that are as high tier as the one we have today. The 57s need to win, or it feels like they're essentially out of the playoff race. They probably need all three against the Mavs. Medicine Hat, 500 over their next four. That gives them a really good look at the postseason.
It does. You can even make it even easier and just win them all. It's easy to say, hard to do.
Morrison fouls this one wide, and he's behind 0-2 with the bases loaded.
The Mavs are in a difficult spot, Truman, of it is, you're almost relying on other teams. Tonight it's Saskatoon is playing Weyburn. You need to try to rely on the Berries to win tomorrow. Weyburn gets Moose Jaw, and it's all of a sudden you want to be able to control yourself, but in your own destiny, and you have to rely on others.
Adair, the 0-2 to Morrison, high for ball one. What a chance this could be for Evan Morrison. We know the pressure that comes with playing at home, but when you can excel at home, that is when you just really start to feel things. And Morrison, an opportunity to do that with the bases loaded. Here's Adair with the pitch. Morrison fans this one over to left field. It drops for a base hit. Calder's in to score. King will come around. He's in to score. Morrison down to second, and he's called safe, shooting the arrow towards the dugout, and the Mavs shoot themselves further into the lead. It is 3-0.
It's the kind of hit from Evan Morrison, Truman, we've looked for really all season. Just that little bloop into left field, and he does just enough to get it over the head of Jake Hiramoto. Drives in a pair, and smart base running, what pitching coach Andrew Bench would call gritty base running, ends up on second, and the Mavs now 3-run lead.
Nick Hill drove in a run before. Do things start to get into a rhythm here for the MacU product? Hill looping towards center field, and it drops for a base hit, and it's going to end up at the backstop. Chance for more for Hill. 1 run in. Morrison will make it 2. Hill's chugging over for third base, and he is there. A triple for Nick Hill. We'll see what they rule it, obviously, stats-wise. I could see that being an error, and the Mavs extend their lead again. It is 5-0 in a game that began with runners being stranded. The Mavs have found some gold here in the fourth.
The Mavs did a really good job early, stranding 5 base runners from Swift Current, working out of jams, and now they put up 5 runs. And I haven't seen whether it's whatever it's ruled, but at least a single that got by the center fielder, and more importantly, 2 runs come in.
And our scorebug here, sponsored by Stringham Law, getting a workout here in the last little bit. The Mavs with a big inning, and one they needed after a interesting start. Runners being left on. It's become a theme. And until you kind of break out of your shell after experiencing some things on the road where they left a lot of players on as well, you don't really believe that you can. Now the Mavs are believing that early in this game. Still a long ways to go as Frankie Giacalone will take a second ball here from Adair, who's seemingly lost a little bit of confidence.
Yeah, as Mavs have really made him work, and surprisingly no one really up and moving in Swift Current's bullpen. Adair is their guy, and this is who they want right now to try to work through this.
Adair, Giacalone takes the inside pitch, targeting that inside part of the zone. Have been several pitchers when seeing Giacalone recently. Giacalone, good looking count here at 2-1. High pitch from Adair. Adair is Saskatchewan as they get. A 57's fan growing up. believe he grew up in Swift Current, him and his brother, always visualized playing for a team at the time in the 57s that kind of ran the league for a bit. Now he's got the opportunity to start for his hometown club. He gets a foul off there from Giacalone. Frankie Giacalone had probably his best stretch of the year just before the All-Star break. Felt like he could not go a game without hitting a home run, and that has quieted down since. I think him and Carter Roth in both of their chases for records have saw those stats quiet down. Giacalone nearly fouled that one off of his foot. Seems to be okay. It'll be a full count.
You wonder if that's just video on players and other teams seeing how to attack guys. And as you mentioned earlier in the at-bat, just going inside on Giacalone, has been able to work for teams, just keeping the tall slugger off balance.
Giacalone, rocket towards left field. Does it have the height? It does not. Bouncing off the base of the wall. Giacalone will park up at first base. Nick Hill will score the 6th run of the game, and that is a Giancarlo Stanton single if I've ever seen one. A blasted one from Giacalone. A good play defensively from the 57s to limit the extra base hit. But my oh my, the Mavs, they are coming alive at the right time, James. Mentioned still a lot of baseball to be played in this game and throughout the rest of the season, but this is the offense that we've seen peak at certain times. Now they're doing it as a collective. First pitch to Johnny Volcano in his 3rd at-bat, and he fouls that one off the back netting.
You know, they are, Truman. You mentioned, you look at Monday, Tuesday in Saskatoon, big wins, complimentary baseball all around. You know, then they lose Wednesday in Saskatoon, a tough one. Lose a pair in Moose Jaw as Volcano takes a ball there. And you come into this game, Mavs felt like they needed a win. You know, they're still pushing through here, the last home game of the regular season. You get a chance to try to carry something from today.
And carrying this one into center field is Johnny Volcano, a base hit. The inning continues for the Mavs. James, there were points in this season where we weren't sure if the Mavs were going to be able to keep up their progress, at least hitting-wise, because it peaked so high early, and they weren't winning ball games when their offense did reach those heights. And now kind of later in the year, as you mentioned, those performances starting to become regular for many of these Mavs hitters. And Ryan Reed echoed those statements this morning. He said, if we can just get everybody to be hot at the right moment, I know it's difficult, but if it can come into shape, we're going to be a dangerous team come late August and into the playoffs.
And I agree with the Mavs head coach. I think ever since, you know, they've made the lineup changes and put players in positions to succeed, it's changed the dynamic of the offense.
First pitch strike here to Eric Calder, who, if I'm not mistaken, began the inning for the Mavericks. So a full loop of the lineup here. And a lot of this rally has come with 2 outs, something that has plagued the Mavs when they are on the other side of the ball, now works in their favor. Calder takes that pitch for a ball as well.
I think if you just look at the lineup and how it's, you know, Carter Roth and Evan Morrison, and then it's Nick Hill now, it's, you know, hitters that they've trusted throughout this season. Frankie Giacalone, 4th, and, you know, the emergence of Jalen King is a really big part of why the Mavs have found success as of late.
Here's Calder, shoots this one to short underneath the sliding body of Zach Clow. Coming all the way around is Giacalone. He slides under the tag. He's into 3rd. Grabbed his leg at the last second there. You hope it's not anything too crazy. Giacalone, an aggressive player. He will literally run through walls for this ball team, and we've seen him run through fences so far this year. A slide there that, you know, maybe didn't favor his leg, but another run for the Mavs. They extend their lead to 7, and 2 still remain on, and Eric Calder, he stays in peak form.
You almost wonder, Giacalone, if he slid on the catcher's foot or just caught him a little bit there, and maybe a bit of a Charlie horse as he's, you know, limping a little bit in the dugout, but I think, you know, at this point of a season is able to stay in or work through it.
Giacalone will head around back of the dugout there. He's still looking to obviously walk it off, and walking off the mound here is Kyrell Adair. His day finishes here in the 4th inning. I'm sure the 57s coming into tonight, one of the guys on their team who has a lower ERA, they trusted in him to put up numbers and you know, work deep into this game, and that's not what comes of it. This was a part of the Mavs game plan. They wanted to get to this Swift Current bullpen. You know, when the season kind of winds down, teams are going to lose players, and, you know, your availability as far as high-end arm goes, that shrinks. obviously the 57s have had a couple of all-stars come out of their pitching crew this year, but it's not what it was, obviously, probably at the midway point of the season when they were at full clip.
No, it's not. You can just tell the confidence is still there in the lineup and the roster, but it's just not, the weapons that they've been able to show at times, and that can be hard to run with for a team into combat. So that's when you really rely on your guys. And I thought Adair looked really good through obviously the first 2 innings, put up zeros. The last inning only the one, and I think the Mavs, just the experience that they have, were finally able to work through it.
So a sidearm delivery coming in, kind of, would say Taylor Rogers-like, or Tyler Rogers. They both throw in an interesting way. Yeah, I mean, if you're a Jays fan or a San Fran Giants fan, Twins fan, you would obviously know about the Rogers brothers and their funky deliveries.
I think I said his name last time. He does, reminds me so much of Joe Smith right now. Is the old, Blue Jay, Cleveland Guardian, Los Angeles Angel. I think he pitched for the Houston Astros as well. He really worked his way out around the West Division.
And it's Chase Cummings who's back on the mound here at Athletic Park. His second time going in relief here this season. So Nate King, his second at-bat of the inning. Heads up with 2 runners on still for the Mavs, and frozen at that 2-out total are the 57s. It's been an inning that has gotten away from their group. So Cummings, a second-year player here with the Swift Current 57s, and a guy that they have depended on in past years, obviously coming out of the bullpen. Cummings. First offering over to King, a throw down to first, and safe there is Eric Calder. Ooh, I'm going to be honest, James. I don't know about that one. That's really close. I'm no umpire, but, my eyes saw out there.
That was close, Truman. Eric Calder's foot hit the glove, and I don't know if the heel hit the base first is maybe what the umpires saw, but that was a really close play.
If there were some Swift fans yelling at their TV right now, I can say I understand the frustration of very close play at first. Second pitch to King. Flies this one into right field. Looks like it will settle. A little bit of trouble out there, but adjusting is Hudson Unger. My, oh my, 7 for the Mavs here in the bottom of the 4th inning. They get to Kyrell Adair, knock him out of the game, and it ends with a fly out in Nate King's second at-bat of the inning. Medicine Hat now up 7-0. Another inning where the 57s begin at the top of their order. It is Hudson Unger, third time around against Julian Pokorny, and now a 7-0 game. A first pitch strike here for Pokorny, who I think settled in this Mavericks group. This is 2 games in a row, James, where he has set the tone on the mound. He's gotten out of tough situations, and the Mavs are riding his tail right now. Here's a fly ball all the way over into right field, misplayed by Evan Morrison, and this could be 3 for Hudson Unger. Morrison, a long throw over to Volcano, fakes the throw to third, and what a start to the inning for Unger. The 57s needed a hit. They get one early on.
That's good base running and good eyes by Hudson Unger. I think he saw a triple out of the box, and he thought it was either going to be gone or off the wall, and he didn't let up and gets to third. And as you said, that's a big start for the 57s. And for Picorni, who's worked around damage now, has a 7-run lead to work with. I think he wants to keep it, and now he really gets to try to limit damage.
Well, I'm sure his goal is to not allow 2 base runners for Jake Hiramoto, who sits on deck. We've seen the 57s throw their fair share of home runs out of this park so far in this season. The last coming from Anthony Hector. That was in the last game that we were here, and that was a home run fest. And a sloppy last 2 games, I think, played by both teams at AP.
It was a preview of the home run derby almost.
There's a high fly ball over towards left field, and this has good carry all the way to the wall, and it bounces off of it. So Unger will score for sure. It'll be a double in for Hunter Fuimoto. And now the 57s. That is a big response. You go down, but you punch right back. And the Mavs have talked about this year how, it's kind of been an inability to punch back when they go down in games. And the opposite being shown here by the 57s. They've had some late game rallies this year. You think about what they did against the Weyburn Beavers. It looked like they were down and out. They almost scored double-digit runs, I believe, in the 8th inning, and then went on to win that game. They took 2 off of the Beavers, and that has kept them in the playoff hunt. And that run will keep them in this game here. Nobody out yet in the top of the 5th. First pitch to Jake Hiramoto, ground ball over to Volcano. And there is the first out. It'll freeze the runner at second base. A tough night so far for Jake Hiramoto. You rely on your stars to come through in big games, but sometimes you're just overmatched, and Julian Picorni has provided, a guy that can overmatch players tonight, and something we've seen throughout his WCBL career.
He has. He's done a good job, and it's almost a win when you can keep a hitter like Jake Hiramoto, in the ballpark and really off the base passes they have.
First pitch dotted for a strike to Mace Wheeler, the catcher.
You talk about Truman, the ability of Swift Current to fight back in games, and I think that's the credit to the culture GM head coach Jared Franklin has set up, earned himself a 2-year extension, and he's just done a good job of instilling the fight in his group.
Here's one that gets past Nick Hill. I'm not sure what he was looking at, and a bobble over in left field by Josh Stark. He sends it all the way over to second. Good play by Carter Roth. That could have been way worse. The Mavs coming unraveled here in this inning defensively. I'm not sure if that ball was behind Nick Hill. Maybe a tougher play than we could see. I mean, we don't have really a 3D view from here, but an interesting sort of occurrence there for the Mavs' third baseman.
Just wasn't able to get over to it, and, Mavs get a little bit of luck. Ball bobbles on Josh Stark out in left field, but the third base coach had already stopped Fujimoto, and, the run probably would have scored there if they see him bobble that quicker.
Now up to the plate comes Rydell Adair. Adair, first pitch wide from Julian Picorni. So we'll see how this affects Picorni now with a little bit of pressure on the base path. He did well before, but he's playing with a lead. Does that factor in? Picorni right down the stripe, just wide, and it's a fastball of all fastballs. Ryan Reed mentioned after last game he thought Picorni's velocity was back where it should be, and he played a lot of baseball. You talk about he went and tried out over in New York and then came back, rejoined the Mavs. So he's done a lot and had to get his body in shape to go in for a tryout. Picorni kicks down the center. This one's hammered over towards right field, tracking to the back wall, and it is gone! A 3-run home run for Rydell Adair, and it is a 3-run ball game. What a response here from the 57s.
Yeah, Adair fouled off the fastball the last pitch. Looks like he got one there and just squared it up and is able to pull that one to right field. And you mentioned it, a response here from Swift Current. They're able to, handle the punches in the last inning in the 4th and come back here with the 5th and put up 4 runs and bring themselves back in this game.
And it feels like situationally the Mavs have had these sort of crutches in games, whether it's leaving runners on, not being able to convert with the bases loaded, walking players at times pitcher-wise, and it seems as the game goes on, the Mavericks, I don't want to say it's fatigue, but they struggle more in situations, and especially after they put up big numbers in an inning, the response after always seems to be fired by the other team, and maybe it fires them up more to be down, and they play with a little more freedom, but the Mavs almost seem to tense up when they have moments of leading.
You wonder if maybe that's as the season's gone on, as they know each game is tight and they're fighting for that playoff spot. There has been times where they're able to just roll and to play that complimentary baseball Ryan Reed's talked about after scoring runs, whether it's a lot or a little, and hold on for wins. But tonight, just not seeing it here in this in these middle innings here as the Mavs now, lead cut down to 3, and they got to fight to get out of this inning.
Zach Clow. He's going to pot one in over towards center field, and it's down for a base hit. Clearly the 57s have figured something out with Julian Pokorny, and the hits continue to fall.
Just not having the same amount of success he did, even earlier this inning. Just working through this one, or earlier this game, pardon me, and now you got to bear down and just try to get out of this one. Don't worry about the 6th, 7th, 8th, and just worry about the 5th and keep the lead where it is at.
Pokorny. There's a strike at the bottom of the zone to Jake Steffes. Pokorny. There's another to Steffes. Similar part of the zone and maybe getting a call that time around.
Yeah, that's a good frame job by Nate King.
Lead continues to get longer at first base for Zach Clow. And 3 strikes in a row. Nothing touched there from Steffes. A strikeout for Pokorny. And a good response here after obviously giving up home run and single just after. Now 2 outs for the Mavericks. And interesting that in tonight's game, no Keegan Noller for the Swift Current 57s. Obviously, we're not sure with who's still there, who's left, who's available, but Noller obviously a big loss, and not to have him in this game, something that the 57s I'm sure would have liked to have had.
We've seen that now 2 straight games of Swift Current here of, I believe the last time it was Noller was in the lineup and no Hiramoto, or it might have been the opposite, but that they haven't had both sluggers in at the same time.
Just foul off the bat of Cohen Jorgensen and wide. Would have been a tough play for Frankie Giacalone. Zach Clow taking off for second base. He'll have to head back. We'll get you all updated with the scores around our league, obviously once this inning concludes, but the 57s looking to make it a bit longer. They've come close to the Mavs now after putting up 4 runs in this inning. Popped aside at the plate by Jorgensen, and now it'll be 1-2. There is some movement over in the Mavericks bullpen, trying to gauge who that might be down there throwing. It looks like it's Adam Wilmore, who had a very good debut in Saskatoon and kept the Mavs alive in that game, and they went on to win.
He did. He was a big part of that outing and able to get the Mavs, part of that successful road trip.
Bouncer there from Pokorny. It'll make it 2-2. Wilmore did not pitch at school this year, and so I think that plays into his hand, and maybe that's the reason he had so much success against the Berries. Swing and a miss. Pokorny back-to-back strikeouts to end the inning. But the 57s, they're alive. They have awakened here at Athletic Park. 4 runs in the inning, capped off by a home run by Rydell Adair all the way into right field. We have ourselves a ball game, folks. And with a lot on the line, the 57s, they're not going to go quietly.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you.
You probably noticed throughout the season as we've gotten to know each other a little bit that I often say, hey, we're going to do a scoring update, and then you guys don't get a scoring update. We will get you, all up to date with what's happening around the league, and obviously there's some pivotal games that impact both of these two. Here's Josh Stark to the plate, takes a first pitch ball from Chase Cummings, who came in last in relief. See how many relievers both of these teams have to use. I don't expect to see Julian Picorni in the 6th. So the Mavs will likely be going to their bullpen for the next, and the 57's already there with Cummins, who starts off 2-0.
And the Mavs get the benefit of a day off tomorrow, so you can use guys before going into the 3-game stretch for the rest of to finish off the season.
Stark over into left field. It's going to lay soft. Stark's being told to stay at first by Chad Pig Martin over at first base. He's been there really all year long, and a smart call with how soft that ball landed for Stark. A base hit to begin the inning. A good pushback now for the Mavs as they look to respond to Swift Current.
Yeah, now you have to push. You can't just settle on a 3-run lead here. You got to try to put up some runs here, and it's the right part of the order for the Mavs to come up and try to do that.
The question is now, is there any stopping Jalen King? I don't think anybody's figured it out yet. First pitch to King, taken for a strike. He's just such a smart player at the plate. Doesn't overcomplicate the swing. Some of the things we see from Eric Calder and talk highly of, King has the same, just on the opposite side. Ooh, there's a hit by pitch to King. So I guess that's one way to solve him, but he still gets on. And so now 2 aboard for the Mavs.
He's really filled the role of, Mavs fans from years prior will recognize Micah Dvorak, right? The 9-hole hitter that really could be a leadoff hitter, but is able to get on base, work at bats, and really turn the order over in a good spot for the top, the top 3 hitters in the lineup.
So here comes Carter Roth, another guy that he reminds me of, and this is dating myself, but David Dell, around a 300 hitter, outfielder, good athlete, and now he's a coach for the Mavs. So King taking after his assistant coach. Ooh, that one right at the body of Roth as he jumped out of the way. Almost 2 hit by pitches in a row. Cummins having command troubles here on the bump. Roth is not a guy the Mavs want to see hit by a pitch, even if it would fill up the bases. High pitch here from Cummins, and now it's 2-0.
It's maybe one of the few hitters the Mavs could be like, no, he'll stay. Just count it as a ball and let him swing.
Cummins. Roth holds off, takes for a strike, and now it's a 2-1 count. Chase Cummins coming into this game, a 13.5 ERA, 8 and 2 innings pitched. Cummings on the way. Roth going to shoot this one high towards left field. Does it have the track to the wall? It is gone! Carter Roth, a 3-run home run. And I guess one of the league's best contact hitters has now become one of the league's top power hitters. The home run train continues for Roth, and the Mavs lead jumps back up to 6.
3 straight games, I believe, Truman, with a home run for Carter Roth. He had, in both Moose Jaw games, 2-run home runs. Wanted to increase it for the home crowd maybe, and goes big fly with 3 here. And, what a swing from Carter Roth. And I think it's a guy that knows this is kind of the last dance and wants to try to go out in style. And that's a really good way of doing that here in this game and putting the Mavs up big.
Roth your boat. That one is currently going gently down the South Saskatchewan River stream. I guess the stream's kind of an understatement when you're talking about a river. What a shot for Carter Roth, and the Mavs, they extend their lead, and now Evan Morrison comes up with a clean slate. Nobody on, nobody out. Morrison takes there from Cummings. A difficult spot for Cummings. You're trailing, trying to work back, throw up zeros, and you land yourself in a part of an order that is not ideal. There's not a whole lot of gaps in the Mavs order right now, and their best are playing like it.
We talked about the lineup an inning ago, and it's starting to remind me of, I remember talking of the Saskatoon lineup at times, and there's no easy outs. The Okotoks lineup, and the Mavs aren't there in the standings, but I think the lineup compares with those teams, and I think it is one of the best lineups in the league when they can roll the players that they can, mix in righties and lefties in the outfield, and just produce from top to bottom.
Morrison takes a ball. I think he was even unsure what the call would be. Very close from Cummings, but Morrison heads to first. Nick Hill up to the dish. 1 on, nobody out. James, I know it's a Mavericks broadcast and people are going to be saying maybe it's an exaggeration, but I think the numbers back you up in that case. From watching them throughout this season, there's no question in my mind that when the Mavs put it together, they can compete with those teams, at least hitting-wise. And it looks like a new member is going to have to compete with this Mavs lineup. Chase Cummins, his day is done. 57s will go to the bullpen, and while we have an opportunity, let's get a scoring break here around the WCBL. Of course, all scores can be found on Ball Clubs, the scorekeeper of the WCBL. And we've got a lot of interesting things going on, including our first score of the night, James, which is coming from over in Fort Mac. It says delay for a Guinness record. I'm not sure what that means.
For Guinness record attempt.
Oh.
I don't know what it means either, but I've got it up. I'll do a little digging. You keep carrying on.
So that's our first game of the night. It is 9-2 currently for the Brooks Bombers and Fort Mac Giants. Both kind of out of the playoff picture as Energy City has pulled ahead, but you never know. You get hot down the stretch, you go on a win streak, you could find yourself in a playoff spot. The Regina Red Sox hoping to do the same, and they are losing right now. A 6-2 score that the Millers lead by in the bottom of the 7th. So that pivotal for both these teams as well, as Regina sits ahead of each in the standings. The Lethbridge Bulls currently down at home, 14-0 to the Sylvan Lake Gulls. Lethbridge has struggled. They've lost some big pieces, including Lucas Hoon, who is their closer with a 0 ERA. Carter Clairhout, their former All-Star. Things are not going the Bulls' way at this moment. Okotoks currently leading 2-1 in the bottom of the 3rd against Energy City. And then the Saskatoon Berries up 6-3 against the Weyburn Beavers in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Of course, that means a lot for Swift and the Mavericks. Of course, if the Mavs do go on to win this, that would be a 1.5 game lead, I believe, if Weyburn loses. And that keeps Swift Current still in it as well, but they need to win this game. They would be right in the thick of things. I think they crawl to half a game away if Weyburn loses, and so does, obviously, Medicine Hat to them in this game.
Yeah, it is. It's a very big, it's pivotal for the Mavs, and I think, I don't know what your Sunday plans are. Mine's Weyburn Moose Jaw, and seeing how that one works in the Mavs' favor or against. And before Frankie Giacalone Nick Hill, they're doing the world record attempt for the largest gathering of people wearing Aloha Hawaiian shirts. And it's in memory of Henny Burchell and Lenny Hodder, who are pillars in the Fort McMurray sporting world. So an honorable attempt here from the Giants, and hopefully they can get it.
New pitcher into the game for the 57s, who had a bit of a Hawaiian night of their own a few days ago. They put out their official lineup, and everybody's last name had Odo attached to it. And it came, obviously, after Jake Hiramoto set the home run record. Almost a tribute to him for doing so. Nick Hill takes that pitch for a strike. It's a 1-1 count. And let's see who our latest member to don the mound is for the 57s. Looks like it's AJ Aruda who comes on to the hill out of Pacific University. Aruda. Here's Hill. This one launched over to left field, and it is going to get all the way gone. My goodness, Nick Hill, he has woken up. We talked about the 57's offense coming alive. It has been the Nick Hill of old today, and a 2-run home run makes it 12 for the Mavs here. We're still only in the bottom of the 5th. What a launch from number 30.
There was a time in this game, Truman, I thought it was buzzing along, and I think that's been the kiss of death this year when we do that, because it can get long here, and that was a long fly there from Nick Hill, and what a performance he's put on this second half of the summer, really coming in and hit a bit of a lull, and I think maybe took a little bit of a rest. I know he missed or sat out of a game in Saskatoon this week, and since then has really been a big part of this Mavs resurgence to the playoffs.
Frankie Giacalone with a deep one in his last plate appearance, but was just limited to a single. And Giacalone, a high one over to left field. This, for the record, it is gone! Standing alone in Mavericks history is Frankie Giacalone. 12 home runs in a season. It had never been done until now, and Giacalone goes long. Back-to-back home runs for guys from California, and Frankie Giacalone, a record to himself as he surpasses Nick Thibodeau and I believe Joel Lutz. Those were the two that he was alongside in the home run chase, and now he is the man atop.
It's been a special season of records, and for Frankie Giacalone, what a special season he's done offensively. Doesn't get to go to the All-Star game, but just produces the way he has, and 12 home runs. It doesn't sound like a lot, but in this league and in this franchise, it is, and it's a special spot he is now with the Mavs.
And Joel Lutz had previously been past Alex Alders, the other man at 11. So it's rare when you see a performance like that in a season. And for a team in the Mavs that don't often hit home runs, it's special when you get a power guy like Giacalone. And, what a treat it's been to watch him. And, a proud owner of the record and a worthy owner as well. Here's Johnny Volcano, A.J. Arruda. Arruda awakening in this game as Volcano will foul this off. Back-to-back home runs given up. You think about things that rain down in California. I think about threes, and that, of course, happening in Golden State. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson all those years. Long shots that you don't feel are going in and kind of working off of each other. We're seeing another California duo do that here. Of course, Hill and Giacalone going back-to-back, and Fan with a catch off the foul ball from Johnny Volcano. Got to keep your eyes peeled to your screen. You're going to miss something right now. So much has happened here in this inning and the inning prior as well. Here's the 1-2 to Volcano. Ooh, I'm not sure if he got a piece of it. I think they're going to say he fouled that off right off the knob of the bat almost on that swing.
It was really inside. He could have almost just leaned in and wore that one, but trying to get a swing on it as the Mavs shortstop and just got enough of it, I guess.
And important to note, still nobody out in this inning. That's hard to believe. Arruda lobs that one low. Volcano with an extra squat. And now it is 2-2. Arruda. Slow approach, strides in Volcano. A ground ball off the top of Jake Hiramoto's hand. And Volcano reaches first base while we have a second here just at the plate. And now on your screen, Johnny Volcano, 181 games played. Obviously, that total has been surpassed now by the Mavericks shortstop, but wanted to be able to tribute his great performances this year. And the same can be said for Frankie Giacalone. 12 home runs on the year. Giacalone taking over that record here tonight. It has been a season full of milestones, and we've seen that really through the last 3 Mavericks seasons. Lots of guys hopping into the record books and taking over long-standing Mavericks records. The latest, Giacalone tonight.
They have, and I think that's a credit to the recruiting. That's it's Greg Morrison, it's Austin L, and the head coaches over the last couple of years. Ryan Reed and Jonathan Thornhill. JT is old.
Yeah, JT, yeah.
Yeah, but no, everyone's done a good job recruiting the last couple of years and brought in really good players who've, risen to this level, and none better than, Johnny Volcano. And I wrote about it this week, Truman. Johnny didn't play that season in 2023 because of class eligibility. Called Greg Morrison in that spring and was like, can I get a spot? And started it short, and here he is tonight, game 185 in a Mavs uniform. And he's just been a pillar, really, of this franchise, and well-earned honors. He keeps racking up, tied for the franchise career doubles. Right, he's one away from that.
A bright baseball mind is Greg Morrison, and that's when you really shine bright, when you can land a guy like Volcano. And I think we got to give credit to Johnny as well. As you mentioned, he did the reaching out and wanted to see if there was a chance, and worked out for both parties. So now still nobody out with Volcano over on first base and Eric Calder up to bat. Arruda, low leg kick. He finds his way to the strike zone. 1-1 here to Calder. Calder, a shoe tie every time. I'm not sure his laces are ever undone, but for good measure.
Just got to check to make sure they're there.
Aruda, oh, that one gets away, and you have to feel for a guy on the mound. You give up a couple home runs and the confidence, then it just becomes shattered in many ways. And for Aruda, unable to hang on to the ball there. None of these guys in this league are bad players. I want to make that very clear. Even if you have maybe a bad moment or something that doesn't go your way, it is not because you are unskilled. And for Aruda, not his top performance, but I'm sure he's had many good outings in the past and obviously would like to recognize that. Aruda on the way to Calder. Not sure if that hit his leg. A spinning throw by Wheeler. Awfully close at third base. Mace Wheeler, a really good catcher, a solid arm, and nearly on time there to Hiramoto at third. Advancing all the way around the base path now and sitting in scoring position even closer this time around is Johnny Volcano.
He was just a little slow to get up. I just had to watch and make sure Johnny was, or Volcano gets up all right. And, really other than the last couple balls here, Aruda had done a really good job finding the strike zone. It's just as of late here to Calder.
Aruda and a walk to Eric Calder. That one pretty close, and you can see a kick up of dirt from Aruda. And we've all had those days in life in general where things just seem to not go in the right direction, and you just can't get a win out there. So Aruda will look to kind of hone himself back in, get back to his, I'm sure, habits that he's created over the years into a routine and find something that works for him. Nate King. Mavs nearly at the 10-run threshold in this inning. We still have tons of baseball to be played, but at the same time, it's key. Here's Nate King. He loves that left side, and there's a single that will make it a 14-4 ball game. Nate King, you mentioned, James, he's coming alive at the right time, and another example here.
It is, and you mentioned it, that left field, he does it simple. He pulls it, but not too much. We don't see a lot of Nate King down the line, but left center, he's able to find his spot and get a hit. And, it's a credit to Johnny Volcano, too, moving up to third, and probably would have scored from second, but doesn't have to run too hard, and was able to trot home.
If you're curious, every player in the Mavs lineup tonight has a hit. There's two guys with 3, Nick Hill and Nate King. So if your name starts with an N, you're probably in the 3 tally. Here's Josh Stark, 1 hit on the night. There's only 2 players who do not have 2 hits. I mean, remarkable. You just never see that.
It's a good showing for the last regular season home game, and, for the Mavs, they hope not the last home game of the year. And if they play like this, it won't be.
0-1 here from Aruda. Stark, ground ball foul. Now a good-looking count for Aruda, 0-2. Stark will step outside. 57s, I can just sense it out there. They feel this game has climbed into heights that they did not want it to get into.
Doesn't help, it's 33 degrees outside.
Some people enjoy the hot weather. Aruda. Hopper towards Mace Wheeler as he squares up. Runners will stay put. And I believe Aruda, based on the lineup card I have from Hawaii, at least that's what it says on my read here. So he's used to the hot weather. I'm sure he enjoys it out there.
Swift Current seems to have a pipeline to Hawaii. It'd be a long, really long pipeline, but it gets there.
That was really good. Aruda. Stark, no swing. It'll be 2-2. Wheeler sliding on the ground as if he's playing mini sticks like a kid. Do you ever kind of flip out the pad stack, James? That kind of looked like that a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. It's nothing like a mini sticks run and you get up and your knees are just like raspberries.
Oh.
But had to be Dominic Hasek in net.
Aruda squares back towards Stark. Stark fouls this one off. I don't think I've mentioned this year, and I wasn't going to mention it, but Josh Stark, actually a former teammate of mine, we played hockey together, and you can bet, we only really had one road trip a year where we would stay at a hotel overnight and then go to a place, but you can bet there were some intense mini-stick battles, and Starkey was always trying to dangle his way through people. he had the same move over the blue line every time, and some fond memories of having Josh as a teammate, and I'm glad to see him excelling here. Aruda. Quick look over towards second base. That's been a part of his routine throughout this game, and Stark fouls it off.
Who was the better hockey player?
Oh, you can't ask me this.
I know who's the better ball player.
Yeah, that's not close.
Okay.
I don't want to flex, but I'd like to say I'd have the upper hand.
I don't know. We'll have to check elite prospects on that.
Or you could check with Starkey. Aruda. 2-2 again to Stark here. Those runners still on the base path for the Mavs. Nobody out. Stark launches into center field. Bit of a slow get off there in center, but making the play in time is Hunter Fuimoto, and that'll be out number one. I will answer with this. Who was more fun to be around during games and in the dressing room? Josh Stark by a landslide. That was a mess. I really wanted to win. Highly competitive and always frustrated when a play didn't go my way. But Starkey kept the energy up, and the team rallied off of what he was able to do. Always a fun presence.
Oh, I believe that. With all due respect, Truman, I could see you being a head case in a locker room. Just trying to be locked in all the time.
I'm not sure how I segue out of this, but you might be true if you ask around. Aruda. Pitch on the way here is you'll see Jalen King. King. Quick head shake there. He takes on the first pitch a lot, I've noticed, and maybe that's just a sequencing thing for him, but it has worked so far throughout his young WCBL career. Ruda, second pitch is swung at. Now it'll be 1-1.
And hitting in the 9-hole, it doesn't hurt to take a pitch, work up a pitch count. If you're able to move things along for the top of the order, just kind of, make things as easy as you can for the top of the lineup to try to do damage.
King, and he's going to step out here. I think Aruda initially calling time on the mound. Nobody warming up in the 57's bullpen. The Mavs bullpen at a standstill as well, but I think they're bringing in a new pitcher. We'll have to wait and see. Still just one out here in the bottom of the fifth. King, ground ball over to third. Could be two for the 57's. Down to first, and off the bag is the call. So Adair seemed to have slid forward. A good conversion there. That all made possible by Cohen Jorgensen, who was cutting over, playing second base. And so the Mavs will have one on here, or two on. It'll be two out. Carter Roth comes to the plate. James, a really close call at first base, and I think one that could have gone either way, but a good visual for the first base ump.
For sure, and I think he did just call safe trim, and I think that is just Jalen King beating that one out, and was able to get down the line as the double plays turned, and keep the inning alive for the Mavs.
Aruda. Strike given out there to Carter Roth. I don't want to say I'm an expert in anything. That wouldn't be true, but I did run cross-country competitively at one point, and from what I can say is Jalen King would have dusted me in all those competitions. I mean, as a runner in this league, he is so quick, and the way he gets off, those quick twitch fibers are always apparent. It's impressive.
Be interesting in how he does on a 400, 800, the distance, and I bet he could do it.
Aruda. Sharp hit ball from Roth. It's down the line and in for one, maybe two. Roth's going to head for second. He's going to tie the record, and he does with a double. There are now two that stand among the all-time leaders in WCBL history in doubles. It is Aiden Stennett, and it is Carter Roth. And in 2026, a year where Roth has shattered many records, now he takes his talents to the league record books. 23 on the year for Carter Roth. Here comes Evan Morrison with two in scoring position, and you could tell Roth did not know how big of a hit that was. I think maybe Chad Martin did it first. He was frantically waving him over to second.
I'm sure just knowing Carter Roth, it's something he'll find out post-game. And, it'll be on social media, and that's how he'll find out.
Evan Morrison takes a pitch for a strike. 19 hits now for the Metasnap Mavericks. We're in the fifth inning. It has been one of those days. Barreling out there right now are the Mavs, and they're running away with this game, and now up ahead by 11. Morrison takes for a ball. Good job to scamper there by Mace Wheeler. So you might be curious if the 57s, do go on to lose this game. Is there still a chance that they can get into the playoffs? The answer is yes, and that is because they still play 2 games against the Mavs. Aruda back to a 1-1 against Morrison. Just needs one more out to escape the 5th. Morrison, a swing and a miss, and a frustrated turnaround from the Mavs outfielder. Morrison, 1-2. Aruda towards his side. Morrison, crossed up there was Mace Wheeler. Signs getting confused between him and Aruda, and maybe getting away with one there was Morrison as well. Awfully close pitch inside.
You almost wonder if that looked set up outside for that one, and Aruda going in, and Morrison able to take.
2-2 count, 2 outs, 2 in scoring position, and 22 at the plate. How fitting. Morrison, a ground ball into right field. It's down for a base hit. Roth's being waved around. King will come in to score, and the Mavs now lead 17-4.
Just, the big innings that we've seen go the other way, Truman, and, we talked in the top of this 5th inning how Swift Current was able to respond after the Mavs put up runs. 57s put up 4. Mavs now 8 in this inning to lead 15-4, and they've just done a really good job of got punched once and punched back here in a big way.
Yeah, the Mavs haven't seen a lot of games that have gotten close to the 20-run total. They have against Swift Current. They've actually surpassed that total. Their biggest number of the year was put up against the 57s. I believe it was exactly 20, but my memory could be off. So 2 outs here for Nick Hill. Evan Morrison still over on first base. 20 hits already for Medicine Hat. Aruda, second time seeing Hill. He homered in his last at-bat. A pop-up into left field, and maybe a tricky play to be made. Calling for it and making the play in left field is Lucas Geisler, and the slide is stopped here for the 57s. A really difficult inning. The Mavs piling up the runs. They now lead 17-4. There's so many things to recap that I'm going to run out of words to recap it all. Obviously, the biggest moments coming via the long ball. Nick Hill, Frankie Giacalone, a record-setting home run, and in the same inning, Carter Roth with a record-setting double. Runs galore for the Mavs. They'll be back with Julian Picorni returning to the mound off of a long rest. It has been a long rest here for the 57's bats. Obviously, they're still out there playing defense. And now they'll see Julian Picorni once again as the lights come on here at Athletic Park. And boy, were they shining in the bottom half of the 5th. We talked about all of the runs brought in, several key performances. And Julian Picorni begins the inning with a ground ball to Carter Roth. Quick play, 4-3 for out number 1. Let's talk about it, James. Ryan Reed, complimentary baseball. That has been the statement of the season. And as far as hitting goes, it has been a passing of the baton fair like we haven't seen yet.
They've done a really good job of, after a couple innings not putting up runs, really just, as you said, passing things on and, just doing damage as a group.
That one is way gone. Pimp it as much as you'd like, Hudson Unger. My goodness, that one carrying all the way into the top of the berm, and the 57s get one back. Unger, I mean, hungry for a hit maybe? I tell you, there's a long shot and a guy that's still fighting. Talked about that he's been with this organization longer than most and wanting to set the standard that it could be 17-4. I'm not going to give in, and he sends a run over the wall.
It's one of those hits you just look at, and you knew where it was going right off the crack of the bat, and it was a loud crack of the bat for sure.
Corny crossed up there with Nate King. Hunter Fuimoto takes ball. Corny. You hope that for his sake that obviously doesn't creep into his mind and become something that is blown out of proportion. You still have a big lead in this game, 12 runs to be exact. But you're going to see two good hitters here in Hunter Fuimoto and Jake Hiramoto. Fuimoto, a ground ball over the head of Giacalone. It's in for a base hit, and the 57s responding again with the bats, and now they turn to Jake Hiramoto. We'll see if Ryan Reed makes a change down below and turns to his bullpen. I think there is an arm that is ready and waiting. It is Adam Wilmore. You'd love for Julian Picorni to get out of the inning, maybe use Wilmore for 2 and then bring in your closer in Levi Tibbetts, who maybe I'm spoiling things, but he has been ruled available for tonight after making a start in Saskatoon. And that is, I'm sure, how the Mavs would want their game plan to ideally look.
You might even hope that, Picorni can get at a 6 here, and then you use Wilmore for 2 and have the mercy rule and be done in 8. Would be the hope for the Mavs.
And then save Tibbetts.
Tibbetts.
They don't even need to use him tomorrow. You probably could use him in 2 out of the last 3 if you're lucky. 1-0 count here to Jake Hiramoto. Foul that one just wide. It'll be 1-1. I always want to talk about promise with teams that are still, scratching the surface of their potential. And for the 57s, if they can get Jake Hiramoto back for another year in 2026, what a gift that would be. He's going to be a guy that helps them get closer to that playoff finish line.
He would, and even more so a recruiting chip to have a guy like that. And this is how our lineup is going to look, and it's going to be based around someone who has the RBI and home run single season record in the league.
Hiramoto, a swing and a miss. Tying him up was Picorni. You mentioned RBIs. I mean, that record just keeps getting tossed around. William Edwards of Moose Jaw, who's still there, a 2-time All-Star. He broke it last year, and then topping him this season was Hiramoto. Oh, Picorni flirting with the strike zone, and it's just outside.
Nate King wanted that one, held it there a little bit longer, and just couldn't get the call that we've seen, at different times tonight.
Full count here to Hiramoto. Just surviving there. Going inside was Picorni. He thought he had him. A hard step on the mound after. And for Nate King, if he's ever placing up pitchers in his house that he buys, I mean, he's going to be really good at it because his framing is exceptional. And I know that's cheesy, but what he has done this year behind the plate for the Mavs has been pitcher perfect.
It has been. You could even say, if he had to build a house, he'd be, for the frame job would be really good. Solid house.
Could be a photographer. His framing would always be good. So now meeting with Picorni. Doesn't look like he's going to survive the 6th here. Some taps from his fellow Mavericks. And you can see Nate King trying to calm him down in some ways. I mean, you're still winning the game big at this point, and anything can happen. The 57s have proved that they can rally from, unimaginable depths, but that will do it for Julian Picorni in this game as he allows 2 on now for the 57s, and he will exit with a lead. And I believe he's in line for a win, James, if the Mavs can pull through.
He would be. Which would be big for Picorni just to have on the stat total and, add that to his, his year, really. Probably won't see him again this regular season. So, a good last look for Picorni here against the 57s. I know he would have liked to finish this inning, but still a really solid start, for the righty.
Talk about guys that are mystery men. How about Adam Wilmore? Did not pitch at Doane University this year, was primarily a hitter, but Carter Roth and Johnny Volcano said, this guy can throw and he can log innings. He's out there to do that for the Mavs in this game, and he was really good against the Berries. A couple of zeros in a row, kept them alive in that game, and then they pulled off a stunner in extra innings against a team who's considered to be a contender.
They did. They were able to just hold on and chip away in that one in Saskatoon, and it was part of a 2, back-to-back wins against Saskatoon that really set the tone for the week that unfortunately saw 3 losses ahead of tonight, but for the Mavs, it was a really good, just a resurgence going into the penultimate week of the regular season, and just give them some confidence as they fought for a playoff spot.
So Wilmore gets warm here. We talked about, James, you maybe alluded to this, I'm not sure, on the broadcast or just to me on the side, but the Mavs had not missed the playoffs since 2008. It's been a long time, and in the Morrison regime, we can call it, from 2009 and on, the Mavs have qualified for the playoffs every single year. They're essentially if you're a hockey fan, the Boston Bruins or any Boston sports team.
Detroit Red Wings, right?
And they run the Detroit Red Wings. That's another team that would fall under that category, and they don't want the run to stop, and this team is hungry to keep that alive. Even some of the guys who don't know about the rich storied history of the Mavericks franchise, they want to be able to get a taste of that postseason action, and they know about the last couple of years, whether they played here or not, some early exits from Medicine Hat. And as Ryan Reed said, and I alluded to it earlier, if we get in, I feel like there's a chance. They played Moose Jaw decent this year, some tight games, some wins. Obviously, they're going to stay focused on the 57s first before they jump too far ahead. So let's see the first bit of Adam Wilmore back at home. He's made one appearance here prior, his third appearance pitching this season. First pitch is a ball to Mace Wheeler. 2 on here for the 57s. They need every run that they can get. It would be a good start here in the 6th inning. Wheeler launches this one over to right field. It's got good carry. Morrison will watch, and it is gone. So Adam Wilmore, just 2 pitches into his relief appearance, gives up a home run, and that's another long ball tallied by the 57s. It is now an 8-17 ball game.
They've been able to find success with the long ball, 2 in this inning, and just keep getting closer here, and they're not going away, and we've seen that all year from Swift Currents.
And thinking about hitting it far can either really hurt you or really help you. Usually in these situations, you're looking for base hits. Throw some guys on and then build it out. The 57s, they're going up there and they're swinging fiercely. As I mentioned, that can take you out of games, but it's working for the 57s. We'll see how long it can last. First pitch strike here from Wilmore as he rebounds. Now faces Rydell Adair for the first time. 57's just not done yet in this game, and now they brought the mercy rule out of play, at least for now. Adair, already a home run in this game as well, a home run in his last at-bat. Something about the home run when these two teams play. You just see it over and over again. Wilmore, a tall presence on the mound. The tallest player on the Mavericks roster this year. Wilmore strides forward. Adair fouls that aside.
The funny thing, Truman, is it's both parks, right? Whether it's Athletic Park or, Mitchell Field in Swift Current, both teams are able to score a lot there, and whether it's big fly, doubles, all the extra base hits, it's an offensive matchup between these two.
Adair is going to ground this one into play. Good job by Nate King. Spin-a-rama to first. Giacalone, no! They said he was off the base. King's yelling to check with the home plate umpire. And we'll see if there's a discussion here. Ryan Reed's already out of the dugout. Really close play at first. First base, rather, has kind of been the hotbed for close calls tonight.
It has been, and I think just how, quickly Giacalone, Carter Roth, Nate King, everyone singled towards the home plate umpire. You hope they actually have a discussion about it. It's up to the umpires. They get to decide whether they want to do that and, put ego aside. And then the next challenge is, are the umpires willing to make the other one look bad by reversing a call? So that's kind of where the WCBL is, and it looks like they are going to have a discussion.
And I want to make an important note here. I talked to Ryan Reed about another call previously at Athletic Park where Giacalone was called off of first base. I believe it was a higher throw. And what Ryan Reed said is, I'm not challenging the eyesight, but rather he is so athletic that he makes plays that even the umpires probably aren't aware of. And in that case, for a taller guy, there is a good chance that he did get his foot to the bag. Whether they saw that or not, they can only judge what they saw, and I don't believe this is getting reversed.
No, and it's not. Called safe there, and it's the footwork. And again, it's it's an ego thing. You don't want to reverse the call of the other guy, and you're working on the crew, and it bites the Mavs here with the play there at first.
So back-to-back 4-run innings here for the 57s. They would like more. And in most games, you're going to win when you put up back-to-back 4-run innings. No runs previously for the 57s. That's the reason they trail big. First pitch strike with Rydell Adair on base and Zach Clow up to bat. Clow, swing and a miss, and ahead is Wilmore 0-2.
Doing a really good job working outside, just getting swings there from Clow on that second one, and working ahead in this count.
Trying that again was Wilmore. Looking for a dip down. Sometimes hitters just can't hold off, but Clow adjusting well. Clearly is seeing the ball well, even with the last swing before that. Wilmore. Quick look low, swing and a miss, and he gets a strikeout, an important one. Still 1 on, now 2 outs for the Mavs. And quite a few strikeouts for Wilmore in his last appearance, obviously with limited time in that game where they faced the Berries. I believe he only threw 1 pitch here last time at Athletic Park and then was not even brought back into the game. So the Athletic Park faithful still getting to know Adam Wilmore, and we're still getting to know a lot about him. The one thing we know for sure, as I mentioned, he is very tall when you walk past him. Here's a swing and a miss. Jake Steffes up to the plate.
He's tall and able to get outs. It sounds like a college recruiter's, dream for a pitcher, able to put those two together.
And the velocity doesn't scream at you, but it's the craftiness that works. There's some of that craftiness from Wilmore. No swing could hold off from Steffes, who's DHing in this game. Cohen Jorgensen sits on deck. Lucas Geisler in the hole, but 2 outs here. The Mavs hope that they don't get to that part. Here's a pop-up. This one will reach over the stadium. We have not seen a whole lot of pop-ups in that direction tonight. It's mostly been into right field.
Usually there's a lot of kids running around, a lot of free balls, and, whether it's a free root beer, I think it is, or entry into a console draw, but not tonight.
Wilmore, another foul off. That one into right field. Near the big tree at Athletic Park.
Almost on timing.
Well, that's funny. They did just announce it in-house. Good timing, James. Step ahead. We should just have your mic go outward. Wilmore sets up for the 1-2. Steffes fouls off almost the same pitch again, a little off-speed action. Hard of the plate. Steffes being forced to challenge, and he does a good job to move it aside.
He's just getting enough to stay alive, and I don't know if he's looking for his pitch or, just trying to see the spin and find one that he can drive, but he's been able to fight a couple off.
Steffes returns to a 1-2 look. Wilmore looking for one more strike, get out of the inning, and a jam shot right to the dugout, scraping over a couple of hands, and hopefully that didn't land in anybody's lap down there. See that thing just rifling towards the back bench.
Looks like everyone's all right. You always worry about a pitcher sitting in the dugout with a foul ball like that.
Wilmore. And he gets the call, strike 3, so he will go and take a seat. And despite the start of the inning not going the way that Wilmore would have hoped, and Julian Picorni the same, the Mavs, they hold 1 on here for the 57s, who respond with 4 runs of their own. And now we look at a 17-8 Mavericks lead as we move on to the second half of our 6th. Frankie Giacalone, a home run in his last at-bat, a record-breaking one, and he comes out for a new inning, swing and a miss on the first pitch, and a new pitcher joins him. So we saw A.J. Arruda, Chase Cummins, Kyrell Adair. We'll see who we have next in line for the 57s. Obviously, they're going to play the Mavs a few more times. The Mavs, I'm sure, they like that they're getting a taste of a lot of arms. They can scout a little bit better and find out some tendencies. Giacalone holds off.
Yeah, they're getting a look at the rest of the bullpen, and right now it's a look at Logan Hammer, it appears, Truman, on the mound for Swift Current. So just keeping, getting the scouting report for this game, and then obviously the next two in Swift Current.
And I know Swift Current's announcer has probably already used this, but it is hammer time on the mound for the 57s. And Logan looking to hammer down the Mavs here. Their offense, it's been tough to put a lid on over the last couple of innings. Frankie Giacalone, a big part of that.
You proud of yourself?
For what?
No, I'm just.
Oh, it wasn't creative. I'm sure it's been used. James insulting my.
No, you're great.
What I was like in the hockey dressing room, and now you're going after me in my calls. Can I do anything right?
You're doing a good job, Truman.
I appreciate it. Just trying to be like my idol, James Tubb. Giacalone smokes this one towards center field. Deepest part of the park. Does it have the legs? It does. Might as well extend the home run lead for Frankie Giacalone, make that 13 on the year. And now the Mavs lead back up to double digits. They're announcing the old record while he's doing that one in-house. It's funny how quickly things can change. And now Johnny Volcano will come back up. Frankie Giacalone, what a night. Johnny Volcano. He's looking to get a record of his own, and we don't maybe want to jinx it, but he's in line to get the Mavs' all-time doubles record as he takes strike one here. James, you have the official number on that one. I hate to put you on the spot.
It's a bad game to live tweet, Truman, and try to call a game.
Yeah.
For the doubles record?
Yes.
It was, right now, Johnny Volcano was tied with 46 with Brian Arthur.
Volcano lets that hit the outside, and I'm sure he's not aware of that record either. We did talk to his father prior, and the Volcano family is aware that he is close to shattering another Mavs record. Volcano, this one's hit far over towards left field. A good play ranging over to make the grab by Lucas Geisler. So that'll be out number one in the inning. A tough start and a bit of a shocking start on the mound for Logan Hammer. He does have the one now. He'll get to see Eric Calder for the first time around. And if you're keeping a watch on the WCBL scores that are meaningful to this game, I do want to give an update. The Moose Jaw Miller Express now up 10-3 over the Regina Red Sox, and I believe it's the same lead for the Berries over the Beavers.
Very 10-2 Regina, 10-3 Saskatchewan over Weyburn.
High pitch here to Eric Calder. That'll be ball one.
3 scores right now for the Mavs that they can like. This one, obviously, against Swift Current, and those two on the road.
Calder, patient on the first two pitches. Athletic Park has been waiting for a game like this. There's been some scarce crowds at times because of, a few of the performances, but tonight it is jam-packed, and with the stands being filled, the Mavs have lived up to the hype, and you just hope to see that in your final home game of the year.
You do, and especially you look at it, this is back in May, but, the home opener wasn't the performance the Mavs would want. You blow the late lead to Regina as Calder takes a walk here, and, what have you done for me lately is a big thing in sports, right? And for the Mavs right now, this is a big performance at home that, they're going to have to try to hold on here for the win as they try to get into the playoffs. And then that sets up what would be a game 2 of a series would be here at home, and a Saturday night for the Mavs wouldn't be bad a week from now, Truman.
Yeah, everything's better on Saturday night, isn't it? I know we're hockey people up here, but there's something sweet about, the beginning of the official weekend. Some people like to throw Friday in the mix now, too. I know there's that whole extended thing. But, yeah, a Saturday at the ballpark, nothing better.
Saturday in the hat. Where else would you rather be?
Here's Nate King. Oh, was that caught over there? No, just missed. Right along the railing, a fan reaching out. You think about robberies in the outfield. That would have been a robbery up top in the bleachers.
Get Kevin Pillar out of those stands. He'll get it.
King pops this one up towards center field. Fuimoto, stoic in his approach, and he makes the play for out number 2.
Took a couple steps in first, Fuimoto did, before he going back on that one, and just hangs up a bit off the bat of Nate King.
Here comes Josh Stark. Talked to Stark before the game today, and it's been an interesting year, but he's just loved having so much playing time and getting in at home. And the interesting year started with not getting to play at college much. I think that's going to change as he goes back. And Stark has proven to a lot of people, I think, that just because you're the hometown guy in your team, and people might think that it's kind of one of those givens, you want to give the hometown guy a chance, that for him there is some skill, and the Mavs were right to take a chance on him this season.
They were bring him back, and it's a completely different Josh Stark, and in a good way, what he's been able to do this season, really all around, but mostly at the shining point at the plate.
0-2 here to Stark. Could give you all the Mavs hitting statistics tonight, but there are so many great performances. Stark so far in this game with 1 hit, and here's one that ranges all the way out, back to the wall, make that 2! Josh Stark, how do you do? It's been a while since he's hit a home run at home, and a 2-run shot puts the Mavs total to 20.
When you get down 0-2 in a count, you never know how a guy's going to fight it off, and Josh Stark fights it off by pulling it to right center field, and he got all of that one. It was a loud crack of the bat, and just another home run for the Mavs tonight.
This is applicable for both teams. You get a home run, and you get a home run, and you get a home run. I know it's fan appreciation night, but they have been spoiled with the action we've got to watch. And if you are over any part of the fence in the outfield, plenty of souvenirs to take home that were not giveaways during the in-house entertainment.
No, check under your seat, Sherman. I left a gift for you.
Here's King, a gift into left field as he plops in a base hit, and he'll be on first.
Was that Oprah Winfrey? You get the Oprah Winfrey joke, right?
No,
the Oprah Winfrey show. They used to have
check
under your seats, and
See, I'm almost too young for that. But
Truman.
I was around in that era, but barely. Jalen King over at first base. Now Carter Roth will come up. I do want to give a shout out. David Dell's parents, assistant coach for the Mavs, came into town today, surprising him. He wasn't sure if they were going to make it up here. They made a surprise trip, and they dropped me off some David's sunflower seeds. I'd mentioned during a Dynamic Duos episode that I'd never tried them, and they provided me with some. So, great appreciation for the Dells, and obviously done a great job in raising their son, a very liked head coach on the Mavs, and a guy that just brings lots of great energy to the field. And they brought good snacks today.
How do they differ from Spitz, the Canadian brand?
Carter Roth. We interrupt our previous conversation to announce a home run. Carter Roth, a bullet over into left field. Add another one to your score tally, folks. If your arm is getting sore, I don't blame you. Carter Roth makes this a 22-8 ball game.
That's 6 home runs for the Mavs tonight, Truman. 2 from Roth, 2 from Giacalone, Nick Hill, and Josh Stark. Just a unbelievable night offensively for the Mavs, and they're putting on quite a show here for the last regular season game at AP.
So who do we get for media after the game, James?
Oh man, it's going to be a long night in a good way.
And Jared Franklin, a long night for his group on the diamond. They've pushed back when they've had opportunities to do so, and it speaks to the fight of this club. Losing the battle this time around will be Logan Hammer. He's going to exit this game. They'll go back to their bullpen. To answer your question from before, James, so I don't leave it on a cliffhanger, I found that these seeds have actually more seasoning to them. And I guess to play off of that, a well-seasoned performance by the Mavericks offense in this game. And it just continues to roll. And, for Jared Franklin and company, he's brought new life to this 57s team this year. It's disappointing that late in a playoff push you have an outing like this, but I think you really got to be proud, playoffs or not, at the steps that the 57s have taken to becoming relevant in the end of years. And that's not supposed to come across as a diss, but they were out of the bunch in the past 2 seasons, and they are right in the thick of things with a young team I mean, I don't even know if they have a senior on their roster, and they are sticking it out against the Mavs and the Red Sox and the Beavers, who are loaded with older players. Evan Morrison will take a pitch for a ball here. Morrison's third season. He's one of those vets on the Mavs.
You know, it's a remarkable job by Franklin, and hope it leads into following years. And as we said, his contract's been extended for a couple seasons, and you hope to see Swift Current back in those playoffs and add to the tally of success they've had.
Morrison fouls this one wide towards the dugout. Yeah, you hope for the small markets in the WCBL. Medicine not as small as some, but they do consider themselves a small market compared to the big giants in Okotoks. For the 57s, strikeout here to end the inning, but a group that they rally around their small community and get out of the inning here. But a disappointing showing at Athletic Park, and still some faith, I'm sure, among the 57s, but it has not been their night. As we turn it over to the 7th inning here on Flow Sports, Mavs up big at Athletic Park. Adam Wilmore, first pitch for a ball to begin the 7th inning. The Mavs' highest total scored this season, 24 runs. It was against the Swift Current 57s. They're getting close to that total tonight with 22 on the board. The 57s have been known to push back, even if they don't come alive and win this game. At least seeing that effort from your players is going to be a positive for Jared Franklin on a night where there really has not been a lot of them. Adam Wilmore, that's a called strike at the very tail end of the pitch. So Medicine Hat, we talked about their games coming up. Off day tomorrow. They'll head to Lethbridge for one. Swift Current will be there for a 2-game series to end the year. Pitch is low for Wilmore. He'll take a walk around the mound. So still life for the 57s. They're probably going to have to win out, but it is a luxury that they get to see Medicine Hat again. Obviously, that's the team they're chasing. Wilmore, ground ball. Volcano catches it off the hop. And Giacalone makes the play over at first. 6-3 play made by the Mavs here for out number 1. Well, we have an opportunity. Here's how things looked heading into the night, strength of schedule-wise. The Medicine Hat Mavericks playing 3 teams below 500 to end the year, just 1 above. The 57's familiar territory, 4 teams below 500, 1 above. And for Weyburn and Regina, each 2 in the below 500 category and 5 in the above. So you look at the path to the playoffs, a lot harder for the Beavers and Red Sox. The Mavs have it cut out well for their group.
They do. It's the Monday matchup against Lethbridge. It's a cut-your-teeth kind of game, and then try to take a win there and then get the Bulls.
Ground ball over towards the dugout.
57s, pardon me.
Well, they could be looking for a win for the Bulls as well,
yes.
So you're not off there, James. The Mavs bullpen empty at the moment, and mentioned Adam Wilmore, a guy who can go the distance. You could see him in this inning and the next. A dipping pitch and Trying to frame that there was Nate King. Back into his stretch here and can get reacquainted is Lucas Geisler, the 9-hole hitter for the 57s. Geisler fouls that off right towards the backside. And I just want to speak about, the start of the season for the Mavs not going the way that they had hoped. But there's been a rallying point in the last week, and it's really been led by their veterans. And Adam Wilmore, a guy who comes in, he hasn't been here the whole time, but a senior at school, a veteran playing his last bit of baseball. And Johnny Volcano says he has been the perfect spark for our locker room. He's a guy who could gel instantly, and that's what we expected coming in. He's just so easy to be around, and it's helped our group. Full count here between Geisler and Wilmore. Geisler, ground ball, just out of the reach of Volcano. It's in for a single, and Geisler, he was steamrolling his way through first, but will be held up, and it's a single for the 57's All-Star.
It's amazing what knowing that, this is kind of the last run can do for players. And, we've talked about Johnny Volcano, most games played in the franchise history. Carter Rowe tied the single-season doubles record by the WCBL tonight. And, this is his final season. Wilmore, Nate King doesn't know what next season brings. There's guys that, this could be it. And, you want to try to go out on top.
First pitch strike here from Wilmore. Face off against Hudson Unger, who hit one far beyond where our eyes can see in his last at-bat. Wilmore, ooh, that ball cutting around, getting close to the plate, just misses inside. Geisler over on first base. Waits for Unger to attempt to do some damage again. Wilmore floats that one high. No swing from Unger, who's patient. Wilmore, quick shoulder check. Top of the order for the 57s, and a interesting hit there for Hudson Unger. I don't really know how to describe that, as it kind of disked around over towards Nick Hill, and an easy fielding job for Hill. Life wasn't too hard that time.
Like a fungo almost, just off the bat right there to Hill, and he's able to get that one in for the second out.
Sometimes you run out of words. That time it brought me to that point. Here's Hunter Fuimoto up to the plate. Wilmore, first pitch to Fuimoto. A similar play, and it's in and out of the glove of Hill. That time much harder, as that was spiked back of the glove. Tap of the chest there from Nick Hill, who's going to own his mistake. But a tough play nonetheless. And Fuimoto over to first. Jake Hiramoto comes up to bat. And Hiramoto, we have not seen a home run yet from him tonight, but is he due, James? It feels like it.
Oh, man, Truman. The Mavs have done a really good job here against Swift Current's best hitter, one of the best hitters in the league this year, and I think it's safe to say the front runner for MVP, Truman. It's hard to, for a player that doesn't make the playoffs, but he's had quite an impact.
There's always been that debate, especially in the NBA. Can a guy rarely wins the MVP with missing the playoffs, but you can't ignore the numbers for Hiramoto, and I don't think it should matter where you play. It's who the top performer is and the most valuable, and that's been Hiramoto. He sends that back off the netting. So does 0-2 here. Very aggressive off the first pitch, always is Hiramoto into attack mode, and you can see that in this approach here.
And when it works for him as much as it has this year, why change, right? And just trying to keep being aggressive and be yourself, and for Hiramoto, it's worked.
Hiramoto just gets a piece of that and sends it wide. I think I mentioned this on a previous broadcast, but for Jake Hiramoto, lots of baseball lineage in his family. His brother Luke Hiramoto actually played in the 2022 Little League World Series, and he was a champion during the Little League World Series. That's quite the accomplishment. Wilmore pitches low to Jake.
Did you ever watch much of the Little League World Series?
I dabble. It's hard to get me away from sports. Wilmore, strike away from exiting the inning. Here comes the pitch. Hiramoto drives this one into left field. Could be more than one. One runner is going to come around and score. That'll be Geisler parking up over at third base. will be the leadoff hitter in Unger and an RBI single for Jake Hiramoto.
Was going to be hard for the Mavs to keep him off the base paths and limit the damage tonight. Hiramoto, a 2-out hit there into left center, and 2 strikes. He's able to fight it off and just drive just enough to bring in the run.
Now the 57s will turn to their catcher and Mace Wheeler. Wheeler, the pride of San Diego, California, as he pops this up near another California native in Hill, chasing that down, making the grab, and hoisting his arms in the air is Johnny Volcano. It's the most Johnny Volcano play I've ever seen, turning on the Jets, running hard, playing aggressive, and making a catch in foul territory to end the 7th. Top of the 7th.
More than 40 years, we've been there, helping Canadians find the extra space they need to grow and to create new memories. Sentinel Storage. Buy Canadian, store Canadian.
For over a century, we've been more than just lawyers. We're your neighbors, your friends, and your strongest advocates. With locations across the prairies, we're everywhere you are. Stringham, your local lawyers.
Switching sides here are the 57s. They're going with a left-hander on the mound. Nick Hill checks in to begin the inning in the bottom of the 7th. We had quite the energized stretch out there from the Athletic Park crowd. Great attendance tonight, the perfect way to close out the season, and a lot of people have stayed around because of the performance from the Mavs.
They have, and I think they're expecting more. Maybe whether it's Nick Hill trying to become the 3rd Mav tonight with 2 home runs, or a couple records the Mavs are still chasing in this game, and there's lots to be excited about right now for the Mavs, and haven't been able to say that all year, Truman, so it's pretty nice.
Nick Hill, a swing and a miss, thinking about the home run as he lunges out. We do have a new pitcher on the mound, as I mentioned. Not updated currently on our scoring system, so still trying to get a read. Left-handed pitchers much harder to see from this vantage point. Hopefully we can get a name and a number to you shortly. Hill just holding up his swing, and you can see first base ump. He knew the appeal was going that way, made the call before it was even asked for. Taking a look at who the pitcher may be, it looks like it's a 0 at the end of the number.
Cole Benjamin, I think it is, Truman. It looks like it's updated now on our app.
So Cole Benjamin into the game. high pitch here. Now it's 3-2 to Nick Hill. So Benjamin, the first left-handed pitcher that we have seen today, and we've gone through a lot of arms. Hill smacks this one in between the gap, and it's in for a base hit. So no matter who it is on the mound, Nick Hill has found a way to punish these 57's pitchers, and another single on his night.
Hit number 4 tonight for Nick Hill, and just, you know, a guy that is hot when he first got here, was really, really hot at the plate, and is getting hot again at the right time.
Frankie Giacalone talked about his takeover of the record books. Does he have another one in him? I can't remember the last time I saw a guy hit 3 home runs here. I think Ethan Menard did for the Saskatoon Berries, but that was an opposing team. So for Giacalone with a chance to do something really special on a night that has been exactly that. First pitch here from Benjamin goes wide for a ball. Mentioned Medicine Hat schedule coming up. The 57's, they'll see Brooks and Okotoks outside of their games with the Mavs. Giacalone holds off, ball gets by. Nick Hill over to second base. And you can see the frustration on the mound, and you feel for Cole Benjamin. You come into a game where you're not competing for a whole bunch, but you're competing for pride, and obviously you want to do well because you never know who's watching out there, and all these guys are very prideful. For Benjamin, not the result he was looking for on the last pitch.
No, and all he can do is, you know, he can't control the runs that have already been scored. It's just trying to limit what's next.
Giacalone, inside pitch. Good location there for Benjamin as he gets a strike. If the Mavericks do get into the playoffs, or if either of these teams do, the game will be played on August 8th, I believe. It would just be one home game, as regardless, for both of these two teams, they will be locked into either the 3 or the 4 spots, and that means that you'll be on the road to begin. Giacalone lets that one fall wide.
And for the Mavs, Truman, I don't think they've started a playoff run on the road since, I want to say 2022 almost.
And it was a win in that year. They knocked off Regina in the first round, who was the 1 seed, and then I think, as you mentioned before on the broadcast, a game away from the finals, they lost to Moose Jaw, who went on to lose in the finals that year to Okotoks. Pitch on the way from Benjamin, a swing, and a foul off there from Giacalone. Yeah, Moose Jaw, they have had it with Okotoks in the finals. 2 losses to the Dogs, I guess, in the past 5 years, and the Dogs obviously, I believe they got a 4-peat in there. Am I right about that? 22 all the way through 23-peat for sure. Giacalone swings and misses, and he will be sat down on strikes the first out of the inning. Now brings up Johnny Volcano. It was a 3-peat for the Dogs, 22, 23, 24, Regina in 25.
And I think it's twice now the Okotoks Dogs have won 3 straight championships in their history. So that's, you know, it's all part of the illustrious Dogs and what they've been able to do in this league.
Well, and they won prior to the pandemic as well. The only pandemic team to win was the Lethbridge Bulls in 21. Season was canceled in 2020. 19 was the Dogs before that. Benjamin, first pitch ball here to Volcano. Here's a ground ball over towards the shortstop. It's picked off the ground by Clow. He's down to first base and in time to get Volcano. Clow with a good arm over at short. We're used to seeing Anthony Hector over there, not in the game tonight. Home run in his last appearance at AP.
You know, and you see Johnny Volcano there. It's a 22-9 game. It's a 7th inning, hustling down the line. I know, talking to owner, general manager Greg Morrison, that's been the biggest thing that has stood out of Johnny Volcano, is how it's all hustle, and that's kind of the identity they try to have for the Mavs, and that's Johnny Volcano's identity to a T.
In minor league sports tournaments, they have the Heart Hustle Award often. I'm sure Johnny Volcano collected a few of those accolades during his adolescence. Pitch into the zone there for Benjamin. Lefty on lefty matchup. You like the look for Cole Benjamin.
It puts him in a good spot, and it's a different look for Eric Calder here, just trying to see the ball, you know, starting almost behind him and working towards him.
Calder is looking to lean in there. Maybe have the pitch connect off his side. Instead, it's ball 1.
It does, lefty on lefty. It makes that inside pitch really hard to turn on as it comes in. And, it's for Calder, we've seen him be able to spray it everywhere, but the inside will be interesting to see if he can attack.
Calder, ground ball, getting close to second base, and an odd hop, and you have to feel in that situation for Cohen Jorgensen. A run comes in to score. It's Nick Hill, now 23 for the Mavs. And Jorgensen in a game that has gone on, and you just can't find a spark, any energy. And you want to get out of an inning like this. You feel like the game has already kind of, come to an end. For Jorgensen, a bouncer that nearly clipped him in the head. It fortunately didn't. And another runner on for the Mavs, another run in. Nate King back to the plate. What a night he has had. We know this is something Nate King is very capable of, a 3-for-5 night. It's become more of a regular thing recently, piling up hits for the Mavs catcher. Benjamin launches that wide, whips some dirt down, and just losing the grip there on the mound was the lefty. So now into scoring position goes Eric Calder. King looked to pull that pitch wide. Instead, it ends up in the dugout. The Mavs have some movement in their bullpen right now. I'm not sure who they're looking to bring into the game, but this is the perfect point to test a guy maybe that's been struggling. And we'll see who they go to. King, sharply hit ball, and it's just foul into left field. I think that's Adam Volcano warming up down there, so the utility man for the Mavs will get another call back to the mound here at Athletic Park. And he came into close not long ago in kind of a high-stakes game. I believe the Mavs came through to win that one, but it got dicey towards the end of that one.
It did, and I wondered if Adam Volcano would factor into this one. Save arms, save pitches if you can for the Mavs, and let the utility man go to work.
Swing and a miss from Nate King, who's down on strikes, and Cole Benjamin gets a strikeout to end the inning. We will send you to break. Be back with the top of the eighth. That could be our ball game. Mavs 3 outs away.
Have you ever wondered if there's one thing that connects people from across our province? Something that connects the coffee shop to the spray park, or the brewery to the rodeo, the campground to the sports field. It's pretty amazing when you think about how it's all connected, because it truly is. And it's all we think about, so you don't have to.
Adam Wilmore couldn't even introduce him back to the inning, and his Doan teammate Carter Roth able to locate out number one via the ground ball. So now the Mavs 2 outs away, and what a big game it has been. I'm sure when Ryan Reed went to bed after the loss against Moose Jaw in a game they had 2 outs and were really close to winning and felt they gave away one, he wouldn't have imagined that a couple days later his team could respond like this. But a lot of adversity throughout the year for the Mavs, and Johnny Volcano touched on it. He said it best. He said, we've gone through everything. We don't have to try and, like last year's team or the year before, adjust to a situation we haven't been in. We just have to get back to that, we've seen it before. Why can't we overcome it? And I think that has played well for the Mavs in this game and could play well beyond. Low pitch here from Adam Wilmore. 1-1 count on the board to Zach Clow. Clow, a swing and a miss. Still some movement over in the Mavs bullpen. It's Adam Volcano who remains down on that far side. But if Wilmore's going to keep working like this, there's no reason to go to Volcano. Wilmore sets up for the 1-2. Clow flies this one off. Foul over towards the tree. The night for Zach Clow so far, just 1 hit. And there's only one player on the 57s who does not have a hit. That's Jake Steffes. Lots of strikeouts for their group, 7 in total. That obviously split between Adam Wilmore and Julian Picorni. Wilmore looking for another. Pitches low to Clow. Avs infield, they had lots of work early in the game. It's been a lot different since, and a swing and a miss. Great location there from Wilmore as he gets the chase, and now the 57's down to their final out. For the last time this season, would like to quickly thank Town Place Suites, the official hotel of the Medicine Hat Mavericks. And Town Place Suites, anytime a visiting team comes in for a weekend, they often stay there, and their support throughout the season obviously makes this broadcast possible. So yeah, big ups and a big appreciation for Town Place Suites and what they do to make this viewing experience possible and make it easy on our players who come into town. There's a swing and a miss. Wilmore gets it from a pinch hitter who's come in for the 57s. I believe this is the first pinch hitter of the night. It's AP player Mason Fowser. Fowser will foul this off. He's a two-way threat, infielder and pitcher. '57's now down to their final strike. Wilmore steps up. Fowser, no flinch. Looking to catch the bottom of the zone there was Wilmore. Fowser's going to stay alive at least for one more. Wilmore kicks, deals, Fowser. He's going to extend the inning. It's a single into center for the affiliate player and a feel-good moment for the 57s. This is the future of their ball club, and we could see Fowser in a 57s jersey for years to come. Just a great moment for the youngster to get on. Now up to bat is Cohen Jorgensen, playing second base. Long night in the field. Obviously the Mavs offense keeping the 57s out there for a while. Jorgensen, a swing and a miss. Fooling him was Wilmore. Another one fouled off here, and would just like to send my congratulations over. Wanted to double check, but the first career hit in the WCBL for Mason Fowser, at least according to the stat sheet that I have on hand, and so a great moment for the youngster. But once again, the 57s return to a familiar territory. Final strike here in the top of the 8th. Wilmore loads up, pitch on the way, and it's poked out and staying around, making it tougher at bat here is Cohen Jorgensen. See the home plate umpire, I think he was telling the Mavs dugout to get back. Obviously they're excited to run out onto the field if they're able to get this win, and they are definitely in line for that with a very large lead. Pitch on the way from Wilmore, and it ends up outside and into the dust. Wilmore confirms the sign from King. Here comes the pitch. Jorgensen. Oh, might be late in the game, but there is still compete left here in the 57s. Cohen Jorgensen embodying what it is to be a 57 at least what they've shown throughout this season, and now they'll get a new set of balls. The home plate umpire will at least. A little bit more time for Wilmore to reset. Jorgensen to look to make contact. Wilmore down in the dirt. Blocking that there was Nate King, and the runner will stay planted at first base. Wilmore will return to the mound in a 2-2 look. Wilmore, let's do it again. 2-2. Jorgensen down the line. Giacalone, it sticks to his glove, and that is out number 3. The Mavs, on their last home game of the year, get a victory, 23-9. It's been a place where they've struggled at times, but they saved the best for last, and they climb closer and closer to a playoff spot in what was a crucial game today. What a big win for Medicine Hat. The Athletic Park faithful will cheer one more time in the regular season, but that will do it for regular season baseball here in the Gas City. And the Mavs look to obviously string that along later on, but they have many games coming ahead and important ones at that. Same with the 57s. We'll have to see how it all shakes down, but I guess until then, just want to give my appreciation for all those who have tuned in and listened here on Flow Sports this season. It's obviously not possible without you guys, and feels like just yesterday we were kicking off the season together, and now we've arrived at the very end. The cool thing about baseball is it fills your soul, win or loss, and I think that's what we've experienced this year with this Mavericks group. Lots of ups, lots of downs, close games, some bounces that didn't go their way. But at the end of the day, it's baseball, and we love it, and we come back to the park the next day and get ready to enjoy it. And, you know, I've really enjoyed this year, and I hope you've enjoyed it alongside me. And hopefully there's playoff baseball to come in the Mavericks' future. So for now, that does it for me, Truman Bartman, for hopefully not the last time this year. But regardless, we enjoyed a great regular season, and the Mavs end their regular season campaign at home on top, taking it 23-9 against the 57s. Take care, everyone, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.